Q. You know why, we know how.
We're forecasting maybe 40 inches or more of rain from this system.
We could be doubling our rainfall record here as far as the tropical system is concerned in the state of North Carolina.
Well, I would characterize the flood threat as the most life-threatening aspect of this.
If the storm hasn't reached you yet, it's still coming.
And moving forward from here, the flood threat will be the one that really takes over as we watch the future of Florence. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson, live in Wilmington, North Carolina, where the rain is coming down heavy at times. And that's the story still over the next 24 to 36 hours. Heavy rain causing flooding. And it's not just here. We've got teams scattered across the region. Mike Bettis is in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Reynolds Wolf is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then, of course, we have, with expert analysis you can only get here on the Weather Channel, our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. He's been monitoring this storm throughout the week and will continue to give you the very latest expectation on what we're going to see moving forward. Meteorologist Mark Elliott, also in our Atlanta studios. It's been a long afternoon. Mark, you've got the absolute latest on what's happening as far as this storm, which has already made headlines. Here in Wilmington, one of the headlines, a 105-mile-per-hour gust. So a stronger gust out of Florence than what we had out of Floyd and Fran. Also, the highest water level recorded on the river behind me here. So we have seen the Cape Fear River rise to levels we have not ever seen. And now we're going to be talking about some significant, serious, dangerous water totals when we talk about the rainfall that's already come and is still to come. Already in this region, we've seen rainfall totals exceeding 20 inches. So we're very close to breaking the state record for North Carolina as far as rain from a tropical system is concerned. But we don't think we're just going to break it. We think we're going to crush that record. We think we could be looking at 30, 35, 40 plus inches of rain out of Florence somewhere here in the southeast part of North Carolina. So that is going to bring with it a very significant danger, not just of that inland flooding, river flooding, flash flooding, and coastal inundation has been an issue. So along the beaches, we've seen significant surge, and we noticed that push of water here on the Cape Fear River as well. So there's going to be water coming in as that south-southeasterly push continues from Florence's wind field. I mentioned an inland flood concern, though. We've got teams inland as well because the rainfall rates are going to be problematic even there. Reynolds Wolf is in Charlotte, North Carolina this evening, and Reynolds, that's a region where now you're going to get the Appalachians in play. Now you've got terrain in play. Actually, Dr. Knabb, I'll talk to you about this because, you know, we're seeing just that tropical flow here, and we've got just those tropical downpours. But once you get the Appalachians in the mix, that's able to squeeze out just as much.
Yeah, and folks in western portions of South Carolina and North Carolina might be thinking, oh, this isn't so bad, but it's coming. It really is. It's just that it's moving very slowly. But once it starts, it's going to last a long, long time, both the wind and the rain from this tropical storm. High-end tropical storm at 70 miles an hour by the wind. But it is, I don't know how to classify this. West at only 3 miles an hour. It's just barely moving, and it's large. A slow-moving, large tropical storm is nothing but bad news, and that is due to wind and water. It is going to eventually move, but look, by Sunday, it's still not gotten very far. It's just getting into the southern Appalachians by that point, and then it will bring some rain farther north. And despite where the center goes, I mean, this cone does not tell you where the effects of wind and water are going to extend. It'll be inside that cone, but this is a large system. So way outside the cone, we've got big, big problems. Tropical storm warnings are in effect still along the coast and inland. This is going to be a coastal and inland storm for days to come because because of those winds and because of the rain making the ground softer, easier to knock down trees into power lines. We are expecting very widespread power outages and likely extending into just about all of South Carolina. Maybe not everybody has their power taken out, but a lot of you will, and it will be possible even beyond that area. And because power outages can be surprisingly dangerous and deadly, I want to remind you of a few things. If the power goes out and if you've gotten a generator, operate it outdoors, not in the garage, far away from the building and the windows. Don't use candles or any other open flame, too much of a fire risk. Stay away from down power lines. We've already seen images of down power lines that are still live. Don't go anywhere near them or anything they're touching, including water. And think about if you need to take shelter and you've got life-sustaining medical equipment that relies on power, you want to go to some place that's got backup power if you have the time and the option to decide where to go. So, Mark, we've got water problems too, storm surge warnings, flash flood warnings. The water is going to be a problem for days and days to come, and it's getting more and more urgent. We've seen these flash flood emergencies.
That slow motion, meaning people that are in the heavy rain will continue to be in the heavy rain for days still to come. I mean, we could double the records of some of these states for the most rain from a tropical system. Let's bring you some of the latest on our what was Hurricane Florence, now Tropical Storm Florence. Storm officially made landfall coming in this morning at 7:15 near Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina. And the sad news to report is that we now have at least 5 people that have been killed, including a mother and an infant with her that were killed when a tree fell on their house. At the latest check, roughly 900,000 people are without power across North and South Carolina. Those numbers are increasing by the minute. I'm going to show you that in just a second. First, I want to update you on the newest rainfall totals that just came in, and a staggering number out of Morehead City, 23.04, meaning you're only about an inch away from that state record with regards to rain from a tropical system. You're going to easily pass that potentially within this hour because it is still absolutely pouring there. We still have a tornado watch that continues through this evening over eastern North Carolina. This may have to be extended a little bit further north. We are watching a small area of extra spin even as far north as southern portions of Virginia. That threat is there. Maybe not as likely to get a watch, but you could still have a couple more warnings. And that's because of this big spin and the outer bands. This next row coming in could also have some tornadoes along with it. It's not just tonight. We're looking into tomorrow, too. Severe weather potential and a chance for tornadoes for much of eastern South Carolina and southern North Carolina for tomorrow as our storm system just barely moves further south. And we do see tornadoes with these tropical systems. It's not unheard of. It's not uncommon. They move quickly. They're usually weaker than, say, a supercell, but it is something that you need to pay attention to. It is, after all, still a tornado. Let's go through a couple of the reports that have come in from this big spiral. Now, number one, we're starting to get wind gusts of near 40 around Columbia, a little over 30 to 35 in and around Charleston. But the big show with regards to the storm reports are still further north. This is out of the Wake Forest area where US 1A is closed near South Main Street because of ongoing flooding there. West of Raleigh, near Parkwood, trees down, large trees over a home there, which is a big threat and an ongoing threat through the rest of the night. And how about this? Flash flood with water rescues underway still in Goldsboro. The power outage issues continue to increase. North Carolina now 760,000, South Carolina 131,000. One of the big changes here in North Carolina is that the inland areas are starting to now be colored in red. We're also seeing more of those outages in South Carolina, which brings me to our own Mike Bettis. Mike, the power problems continue to increase. That trend, unfortunately, will continue right on through the night, potentially through the weekend, where wind and too much water are not a good combo for those trees.
No, not at all, because now we've saturated the soils, right? And so we've loosened what the roots have to hold on to down in the ground, right? In essence, you kind of lubricate that soil, and it's easier for those roots to come up, right? And overgo trees and some really gusty winds. Now, I will say this. Throughout the day today, we've had pretty much horizontal rain. Now the winds have backed off ever so slightly here in Myrtle Beach. We're getting more vertical rain. That's a good thing. I want to take you back, though, to when the real beginnings of it happened. That happened about mid-morning this morning. Check this out.
10:30 a.m. Starting now, feel the outer edges of Hurricane Florence hit us
is here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The rain has increased exponentially and the winds have really picked up as well. Take a look out over the beach. Offshore wind, so everything's blowing out to sea right now. Things have backed off for us a little bit when it comes to the wind. The rain, though, is still pouring down on us. And the good thing about what's happening with the water in the Atlantic Ocean is this. We've had a primarily offshore wind today, and so the water's gone out, not in. Even at high tide, the water was way out this morning. At noon high tide today, the water was hundreds of yards from the beach, which was absolutely fantastic. And tomorrow that could change. If we get now a shift in Florence, it's moving very slowly, but the gradual progression inland and in west or southwest then brings in more of an onshore flow. And we could have that final punch be storm surge, which will mean that the flooding up into the rivers will stay a little bit longer than we might want it to, that's for sure. Hey, let's take you up a little bit farther into North Carolina tonight, into Charlotte, North Carolina, where meteorologist Reynolds Wolf is. Reynolds, how about this for you? Just got a text from my mother-in-law in Charlotte. She says, literally word for word, dang, we've already lost power.
It's hard to believe. You know, the problem with that is we're going to see more of that. That really is going to be sort of a chain reaction problem, so to speak. The numbers that Mark Elliott was talking about a short while ago, I think we're in excess of 800,000 people, approaching 1 million. And by the time I finish this sentence right now, I guarantee you there are even more power outages. We're here in the city of Charlotte. We actually see some of Charlotte's finest racing right by right now. This fire truck, one of many that could be put to service as we roll forward in time. City services still operating, but I'll tell you, the airport, though open, may be closed as we roll forward because the wind, the rain, and all that's going to come with it. It's hard to believe, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that was swimming out in the expanse of the Atlantic, and we've had it now on our shores. But the story isn't really in there, but really some of the worst of it is yet to come in terms of the rainfall. In Charlotte, when we started our live broadcast earlier today, we had light to moderate showers. The wind began to pick up, but now we're going to see more of those, the shower activity really begin to intensify. Damage, we've had reports of that too, not only to the power outages, but a lot of tree damage. And as we heard from Mike Bettis talking about it so well, about how the ground being saturated, these huge oaks, some that have been around for a very long time, all it takes is a gust of wind from these outer banks, and guess what? They begin to drop. Well, we happen to be situated here in Charlotte. By tomorrow, some of the winds through these tall buildings are going to be kind of like what you see out west in the Santa Anas, where the air molecules, they come together, they intensify, they go even faster. So could have a bit of a wind tunnel effect here, possibly some damage in downtown Charlotte. Obviously, you see the trees right here. Could some of these be victims to some of the stronger winds? Too early to say, but there's certainly that possibility. I can tell you that we've seen something out here, Alex. That's been a great deal of the population that is not from here, and that these are visitors. They serve a purpose. Power line crews. And what they're doing is waiting for those winds to come down and then get out there and do the work. So eventually what we can expect, the winds to drop, the rain to move out, and then it'll be replaced by something else. Not the sound of the wind, but the sound of chainsaws clearing out the roadways and trying to get things back into shape. But again, that's farther downstream. Right now, we're dealing with the impending problems with the system getting closer to us, Alex. You've seen it first, very personally out there along the coast. But there's, again, that sledgehammer blow that we can expect across much of the Tar Heel State.
You are so right, Reynolds. And you mentioned you got to get through the event before you can even begin the cleanup. So, yeah, for people like Mike's in-laws who have been without power, just lost power here in Wilmington, we've been without power for, I would say, anywhere from 12 to 16 hours, depending on where you are. It's going to be a long haul because it's going to take the energy provider. Duke Energy has people stationed here. But here's the thing. When you've got winds like this, you can't send people out to start the repair to those lines. They got to wait till the storm moves out. And thanks to Florence's ever slow motion, it's going to stay problematic enough in terms of the wind that they can't get up there in those bucket trucks and try to be fixing those. Rain continues, and that obviously is going to lead to problems on the road. So even if you're watching, you live in Wilmington, but maybe you left Wilmington, don't think that the second the wind dies down and the rain stops that the threat's going to be over here in the Wilmington area, because there could be ongoing or prolonged flooding issues because of how much rain is still yet to come. And I want to bring in Dr. Dr. Knabb, because Dr. Knabb, this thing is moving so slowly, just creeping along. So what does the future of this look like? How much longer in a place like Wilmington, in a place like Myrtle Beach, are we going to be dealing with this?
I'd say for the balance of the weekend, you're still going to be experiencing a coastal storm with at least gusts of tropical storm force and that onshore flow and some ongoing heavy rainfall. And that's because when you've got a system that's, say 300 miles wide and it's only moving 3 miles an hour, well, I don't even want to try to do that math right now. That's a lot of hours, right? So that means going out through the weekend, and the center of circulation's here, but the center of action, well, there's many of them, and those nasty bands are pushing the moisture onshore. So we're still going to have the storm surge problem tonight when we get to the midnight high tide, in addition to the freshwater flooding, and in some places it's going to combine. So in places like Morehead City and New Bern, you've got the flash flood emergency in there, but we're going to have more storm surge tonight. It's just amazing how much water is making this situation more and more dangerous by the minute. And then in the Myrtle Beach and Wilmington areas, the farther this system goes west, the more you'll continue to have onshore flow, and the more that the rain bands will bring flooding rains into that area. So this is just tomorrow night into Sunday morning. Look at how this continues in the same general area. We're having flash flooding now. And then in Charlotte, North Carolina, Sunday looks like the worst day overall for flash flooding. Team coverage continues at the coast and inland, wind and water. Florence bringing it your way. Stay tuned.
Enhance your moments. San Pellegrino, tastefully Italian.
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse awards the $2,500 a week Forever Prize. Win $2,500 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $2,500 a week for their life. Don't miss your final chance to win. Enter at PCH.com, and October 26th, win forever.
Do you suffer aches and pains from poor circulation? Are tired, aching legs stopping you from enjoying life? You don't have to suffer any longer. Relieve your aches and pains with Revitive Medic Circulation Booster, a new drug-free home treatment cleared by the FDA that significantly improves circulation in your legs and feet. Just one relaxing session a day, and you'll feel back in control. Medical conditions, age, or inactivity can cause poor circulation. The result, aches and pains that ruin your everyday life. Only Revitive Medic's patented wide pulse waveforms stimulate the nerve endings in your feet to get your lower leg muscles pumping and actively improve your circulation, relieve your aches and pains, and strengthen your leg muscles.
I've tried everything to get rid of my pain, and nothing has worked like Revitive. And even better, it's not a drug.
My granddaughter asked me to dance with her. Well, I can't turn down my granddaughter, right? So I danced 2 long dances with her, and I would never have been able to do that without Revitive.
It makes a big difference. Quality of life. It's nice to have that filling back and have the control back.
Award-winning design makes Revitive Medic easy to use. Just place your feet on the foot pads and increase the intensity using the remote control. In minutes, you'll be enjoying relief as Revitive's clinically proven impulses take your aches and pains away. Discover why 94 out of 100 people who try Revitive keep it. Because it works. Try risk-free with our 60-day money-back guarantee. If Revitive Medic doesn't relieve your aches and pains, return it and we'll refund the purchase price, the shipping, and even pay the return shipping. That's how confident we are in the power of Revitive. Call 1-800-956-0509 or go to tryrevitive.com right now. That's 1-800-956-0509.
You don't have to live with pain. You just have to take the leap and try Revitive.
Season after season, year after year, customers have found that when it comes to replacing their windows, there's only one company to call, Renewal by Andersen. Call 1-800-352-3613 now. So what makes Renewal by Andersen so good? Fibrex material, an innovative composite material exclusive to Andersen that provides strength and durability, far surpassing vinyl. In fact, it won't warp or bow over time like vinyl does. Get the window replacement solution proven to stand the test of time, plus the peace of mind that comes from a superior service experience. That's Renewal by Andersen. Call 1-800-352-3613 today and get 20% off your entire order with this exclusive TV offer. Again, that's 800-352-3613 for 20% off. Plus, get no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better window. Call 1-800-352-3613 now.
The only Emmy-nominated weather network on cable.
When this much rain falls, it is a life-threatening situation.
Is the most essential coverage on TV.
Currently in our area, 85 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 67. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny along with a few clouds. High 89. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 67. Winds east-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back as we are tracking Florence, another view from the International Space Station, which somehow just gives you the scope of the size of these storms, right? When you can see it with the kind of the arms of the space station on our little blue marble spinning around, and so much of the screen, as you can see here, taken up by that very storm that we've been following. And you can maybe start to understand some of the scope of the disaster that's unfolding when you can see the size of this beast. Here with Dr. Knabb, of course, hurricane expert. Dr. Knabb, I want to show you some of this. I want to talk about the coastal impacts with you that are still increasing tonight, right? We're now just getting to a high tide.
Yeah.
Or coming towards a high tide. We're not even there yet.
Yeah, we're on the way up. We're kind of on a noon and midnight-ish high tide cycle. So we had the high tide around noon today, and you saw some of the pictures the Mike Seidel showed in the Wilmington area, the water getting higher. But we're anticipating a lot of places, because it's on about the same schedule here in this part of the country. Around midnight tonight will be at the highest tide, and we've still got the onshore push. So that storm surge flooding, those numbers we talk about, the 4, 5, 6 or more above normally dry ground, that's a combination of storm surge and tide, so they work together to work against us on the 12s.
When we're going into a high tide in the next few hours, we've got this onshore flow. It's going all the way up the river system, right? So this, we say surge is kind of a coastal event, but the coast may be a river coast in this case, and that doesn't even factor in the rain, which is still coming down. I mean, when you have the river's going the wrong way and the inlet's going the wrong way, where does the water go at that point?
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look good because you have a combination of fresh water and saltwater flooding. Because, yeah, normally water would flow downhill after it rains, and then the river would empty out into the Atlantic Ocean. But
when you look at Town Creek, there's no way. There's nowhere for that water to go.
It's amazing how powerful the wind is to keep the rivers and the ocean from flowing the way they usually do. And so as the salt water piles up and the rainwater drains off, you can get more flooding than what this graphic depicts, because this is only capturing the storm surge,
and then you have the rainfall on top of that. Speaking of the rainfall, I mean, it is just crazy still with this band rotating in from the coastline, going all the way back into central North Carolina now.
Yeah, often say center of circulation, not always the center of action.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of action in this whole 300-mile wide expanse of rain and wind, but this particular band, I mean, that is really, really treacherous, what is going to be happening for hours and hours to come. And this is a taste of what is to come, because as the center moves farther inland, these bands will move farther inland, and so places farther west, you might end up seeing a lot more heavy rainfall likes of which we're seeing in places like Goldsboro.
So this is still a flash flood warning for Johnson and Wayne.
And still an emergency.
Still, yeah.
The rescue's
that's
ongoing.
What I mean. There are water rescues ongoing. And near the coast, the National Weather Service is saying, my goodness, we have an intense situation on our hands for Carteret, Craven, and Pamlico.
Yeah, and even if the rain starts to lessen a little bit, the waters will continue to rise. And this is an area also that is headed toward high tide with onshore flow, more storm surge flooding. The New Bern area, my goodness, the amount of combined flooding that area could get tonight.
And bringing in Alex Wilson. Alex, just down the road from Morehead City is Jacksonville, North Carolina. They might be next to need a flash flood emergency, just looking at the radar. It is unbelievable, the rainfall rates that we've been seeing. I know you were in some of that through much of the day.
Yeah, you know, when it comes down hard, getting a little bit of a break right now, finally. But then, you know, you add in the wind, and that wind-blown rain makes it nearly impossible to see at times. Of course, we saw that earlier today when we had that really western eye wall right over the Wilmington area, that wind gust of 105 miles an hour. At this point, the wind's gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour, but the rain, that continues to just, I've said earlier, it's like when you're at the water park and, you know, they have those buckets you fill up and you pull the cord and you can flip it over and drench everybody underneath. It's like that kind of rain. So truly tropical downpours coming down with this. And because this storm, as Dr. Knabb and Mark just mentioned, is not moving much at all, it's continuing to drop these rainfall rates over these communities, and that's why these flash flood warnings are flash flood emergencies and warnings have been issued. And I think that'll continue to be the case. Now, some of the local weather service offices have been asking people to get out the message via social media or maybe other mediums besides television, because a lot of people are without power at this point, so aren't watching television, but may still have their smartphone or have access to a laptop or a tablet. And you want to stay put. If you're in a safe spot, now is the time to stay where you are, because it's these overnight hours with the rain still coming down, that onshore flow in many areas, that it's going to be especially dangerous to be out on the road. So don't put yourself in harm's way. Stay put. And that goes for other areas that will see this heavy rain persist through the weekend. On the road's the most dangerous place you can be. Our coverage of Tropical Storm Florence continues after this.
Guys, is this you? Busting out of your pants? Out of shape? No energy or drive? Then you need Nutrisystem for Men.
I'm Chris, and I lost 120 pounds on Nutrisystem.
I'm Essex, and I lost 43 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Lose up to 18 pounds and 8 inches overall in your first month. Money back guarantee. Real guys, real results. Put down the wings, pick up the phone, and get with the program today. Order your 28-day plan now and save 40% off every program. That's 40% off breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. For a limited time, save 40%. Plus, get 1 week of all new NutriPro shakes, packed with 20 grams of protein to help shrink your gut, free.
The food was delicious. I love the food. Pasta, pizza, so good.
Plus, we'll throw in FedEx shipping free.
It was perfect for guys like me who don't like to cook.
Lose up to 18 pounds and 8 inches overall in your first month.
It's simple. You eat the food, you lose the weight. Go online or call 888-648-DIET and get free shakes plus 40% off every program.
Children shouldn't have to battle cancer, but they do.
My name is Abby, and I have Ewing sarcoma. St. Jude is trying to make it go away.
My name is Randall, and I have leukemia. I just finished my high dose of chemo.
You can join the battle to save lives by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Our son was diagnosed with a medullary brain tumor. I remember hoping that he would make it to his first birthday.
Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live. Please call or go online right now and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope for only $19 a month.
You don't realize the magnitude of how much you've really helped somebody. You know, I just want to say thank you.
1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer will not survive.
I didn't want any other parents to have to go through this.
I don't know where we would be without this hospital.
When you join with your credit or debit card right now, we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt you can wear to show your support for the children of St. Jude.
St. Jude gives you all of that hope back. They gave me my daughter back.
St. Jude won't stop until no child dies from cancer.
These children fight hard. They fight for their life. And I don't think we could do it without you.
Please, call or go online right now.
We're forecasting maybe 40 inches or more of rain from this system.
We could be doubling our rainfall record here as far as the tropical system is concerned in the state of North Carolina.
I would characterize the flood threat as the most life-threatening aspect of this.
If the storm hasn't reached you yet, it's still coming.
Boy, Florence has dealt a heavy blow to the Carolinas, that's for sure. Making landfall this morning as Category 1 hurricane. Gradually weakening, but a tortuously slow-moving storm. And our team in place tonight to keep you ahead of the dangers as we go through the night. Alex Wilson in Wilmington, North Carolina. Reynolds Wolf in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mark Yellett and our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knapp, the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta. And I'm Mike Bettis in Myrtle Beach. We've had extreme weather today. There's no questioning that. The winds have been up today in South Carolina as we've been the last state to feel the impacts, but it's slowly rolled our way here in the Grand Strand. High winds today, excessive rainfall. Haven't had the storm surge in South Carolina just yet. We haven't had that onshore flow to push the ocean water in, but we're already flooding here. Already extensive power outages. In South Carolina alone, 135,000 customers without power. We've seen trees go down. We've seen power lines go down, sparking fires even, but we've got such heavy rain to contend with, not only here at the coast, but all the way inland, places like Columbia, likely to see some flooding. Worried about the possibility of landslides and flash flooding in the upstate where the terrain gets a lot hillier. In western North Carolina, we could have issues with the same. All right, so this is going to go well beyond the coast. We know that we get a lot of issues at the coast, and maybe we feel the brunt of the issues at the coast, but this is going to go well inland, okay? Well inland, and one should be aware of that because we've got a slow-moving storm with ongoing impacts. Just to prove that, let's take you to Wilmington, okay? Alex Wilson's there. She was dealing with some pretty intense weather yesterday, and Alex, it's incredibly intense tonight as well.
Yeah, you know, earlier today, over 12 hours ago, we had those winds gusting over 100 miles an hour in Wilmington. But even this afternoon into the evening, winds gusting anywhere from 40 to 60 miles an hour. So the winds did not let up much as we went through the day. I mean, they let up a bit in scale, but in terms of just persistent, strong winds, that's been the norm for our Friday here in Wilmington. The rain, it was coming down heavy overnight. Guess what? It's been coming down heavy throughout the day. It will continue overnight and into our Saturday. So torrential downpours still in the cards for us. We're getting a little bit of a break now. If you were with us, say, about an hour ago, the rain was coming down in buckets, getting a bit of a break, but it's still raining with more to come. Now, you can't see behind me, but we've got the Cape Fear River that runs from north to south here across the community of Wilmington. Today, though, it's been moving from south to north, and that's thanks to that persistent southerly, southeasterly push of wind from Florence's circulation. So we've actually seen an onshore push. That'll help to exacerbate our freshwater flooding issues because that water will have nowhere to drain to. Then we have other challenges when we head into the upstate of South Carolina, western North Carolina. Reynolds Wolf is in Charlotte, where we not just have a flash flooding concern, but we also, Reynolds, have that threat of landslides and mudslides.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, it's something we really have to contend with, right? That these problems don't just really end at the water's edge, but they really are going to continue for quite a bit. Right now, you can see right behind me, we've got the wind that's been picking up a little bit. The rain for now has stopped, but that's not unusual at all when you have situations like this. What we're going to be dealing with is possibly more of that wind, more of that rain, the potential flooding, widespread power outages. It is so much that we're going to be dealing with. Now, when it comes to Charlotte, you have roughly, say, 860,000 people that actually live in the city, but for the greater metro area, roughly 2.6 million people. In terms of power outages, well, when you hear the numbers, it's around 800,000 or so, and those numbers are just going to keep on going. So this is a problem that we're going to be dealing with for quite a while. In fact, through the weekend into early next week, and maybe last a lot longer than that when you have the reoccurring problems, the wind and the rain moving out, but then the problem of trying to restore services to so many people that need it, that's going to be another huge issue. It's an issue that a great deal of America is concerned with. And with that concern, you know what? We've got a full team here at the Weather Channel that's going to keep you up to speed, including your friend and mine, Dr. Rick Knabb. Dr. Knabb, you know, it really is a thing that when we see these systems come on shore, we can't forget about the problems that may come with it as it surges further inland.
Yeah, and it's just beginning in the Charlotte area, and even points north and west of there will eventually get it. And once it starts, it's going to last a long time because of the very slow motion and the extraordinarily large size of this tropical storm. And there are so many flash flood warnings currently in effect over central and eastern North Carolina, starting into South Carolina. And you can imagine once the center gets farther inland, these bands will continue on the coast. So that's why this is going to be a long-lasting inland and coastal event. Most widespread power outages closer to the coast, but they're likely far, far inland, all the way into the Appalachians. Asheville, for example, could experience power outages. And the flash flooding tomorrow night into Sunday will start to extend farther and farther inland. We got the flash flood emergencies in this area. Imagine some of that will start to take shape farther inland. And then look at what we're expecting for Sunday. Very likely some damaging, maybe even deadly flash floods if people aren't careful and stay off the roads in places like Charlotte, North Carolina. So this is why you can't assume that just because you don't live near the coast that this isn't going to be a very destructive, dangerous system. Myrtle Beach, your rain is on the increase, so is your storm surge as we approach high tide.
At Land's End, comfort is in our jeans. We build in features that matter, like a no-gap waist, improved stretch, and jeans for men that put comfort first with Flex built in. No matter how much walking, sitting, dancing, or jumping through hoops your day requires, you're going to look and feel amazing. Guaranteed. Period.
The moment you realize you're lucky your backyard is in the back.
At Lowe's, we have everything you need to keep your yard looking great. Shop Lowe's and get 4 one-quart mums for $10.
As animal lovers, we assume that everyone is going to treat animals kindly. When you realize that that's not the case, it's shocking. Animals are abused in so many ways. Sometimes seeing the cruelty and what happens to these animals is almost too painful to watch. You can look at those images and just be so angry that anyone could do that to an animal.
Animals are abused every day, and they can't ask for help. They endure indescribable acts of violence, but they're without a voice. Without a voice to say they're frightened and in pain. They're alone, they're scared, and they need your help. Visit us at joinaspca.org or call this number now and sign up with your monthly donation. The situation is urgent, so please don't delay. It's only 63 cents a day, and you'll help rescue animals who are suffering. Do it in the next 10 minutes, and we'll send you the photo of an animal from our shelter and a free ASPCA t-shirt.
When you look directly into their eyes, you do see into their heart all of the suffering, all of the pain. If they had a voice, they would say, "Please help me." These animals don't have any way out. They don't have any escape. They need people like us to actually be the ones to stand up and say, I will help you.
It's a painful and horrifying life for these animals. But for just 63 cents a day, you can change everything. It could be the most important thing you do today. Please sign up now.
That's a mini wheat. Delicious. But it's more than that. 10 layers of crunchy wheat to fill you up on big days. Whether your day involves steam, mountains, or fire, we've got your breakfast right here. Is your breakfast built for big days?
Rain will be the name of the game here in Wilmington, North Carolina, as we go through our really entire weekend. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson, live here in the city that was battered by over 100-mile-per-hour gusts this morning as the western eye wall of Hurricane Florence, then Hurricane Florence, moved on shore, made landfall not far from here in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, around 7:15 local time. Power has been out throughout the day across the community. The Waffle House, I'm sure you saw Jim Cantori up there. They're without power, but they're using gas to cook what they can for the first responders and other people who may be looking for a hot meal right now and don't have the ability to make it for themselves. The threats are not over, even though now the wind's relaxing a bit. You know, earlier or even this evening, just within the last hour, we've seen some really strong gusts, and we still will be watching for gusty winds as we go through the overnight when you get some of those heavier bands move in. But the rain, it's not going to let up as we go overnight, and it's not going to let up tomorrow. We'll continue as we go through the weekend, and we'll be measuring rainfall in feet here in Wilmington by the time we're done with slow-moving Florence. That will be the biggest danger, perhaps the deadliest threat from this, and it's not just for parts of eastern North and South Carolina, like areas in Wilmington, but also areas well inland, communities that could get swamped by some of these tropical downpours. So unfortunately, we know that there are problems yet to come. Here in Wilmington, it's not just the freshwater or the rainfall flooding we're concerned about or that we've seen, but we've already seen that push of water from the Cape Fear River here. It reached its highest level on record. National Weather Service Wilmington confirmed that earlier. And we've seen it moving over the boardwalk here, right along the river, a riverwalk, a popular place for people to walk their kids, take the dogs, and that was swamped with water, and we think that'll be an issue, Mark, moving into tomorrow, because that persistent southerly southeasterly flow is not ending anytime soon because Florence just won't budge.
And let's face it, it's moving at 3 miles per hour. That is a leisurely walk speed. So you could walk along with this hurricane at that same pace, right? That is just unbelievable. What was Hurricane Florence, now Tropical Storm Florence, but don't put your guard down. The impacts continue. Look at this. Morehead City, my goodness, 23.04 inches of rain. That is not a current stat. That was just the most recent one that we have. So it's likely a higher number than that, which would put it very close to already breaking that record for the wettest tropical system coming through North Carolina. We still have a tornado threat through the rest of this evening. Tornado watch continues in eastern North Carolina until 11. We will likely need a new one after that because these outer bands will continue to have that spin. In fact, it's not just today, it's not just tonight. Tomorrow, we will continue to have a threat of severe weather, including tornadoes, eastern North Carolina into eastern South Carolina. So yes, people then places that haven't gotten into that tornado threat yet may very well do so as we continue on. We're watching this big spin, right? The center of our circulation is just barely onshore right here and barely crawling, but all of this is just an onshore onslaught. So we still have the impacts here with regards to surge. All of these green kind of pickled colors, those are flash flood warnings. A couple of those are flash flood emergencies. Wind speeds increasing around Columbia, close to 45 mile per hour gusts. Around Charleston, 30 to 35 mile per hour gusts. Ongoing water issues, flash flooding outside of Wake Forest on US 1A. Trees down because of big winds west of Raleigh, and even water rescues that were needed in the Goldsboro area. Power issues continue to become just staggering in their magnitude. The numbers of outages continue to increase. There are now at least 5 different counties of North Carolina, all with more than 50,000 customers each without power. The worst of it is in New Hanover, where 113,000 customers are without power. So the state number is at 700,000. 132. The South Carolina outages are on the increase. Horry County has been red for a while, 72,000, but Florence and Marion are now both above 10,000 customers each with regards to outages. So Reynolds, that story is going to continue as we go out to Reynolds Wolf. And in your area, in Charlotte, Reynolds, the rain is really just starting to move in. The wind is just starting to move in. The power outages will begin and increase there as well.
Absolutely. You know, with the unwelcome things that are moving in, there is some welcome thing that has also moved in. That's part of the new population, so to speak, a temporary population that is now booming in parts of Charlotte, and that are the power line workers. We've met gentlemen that have been from Mississippi, from Michigan, folks that have been from really all corners of America, including Texas. They're here and they're on standby, waiting for the wind and the rain to die down. And as soon as that happens, they do quite a bit of work. Let's be honest, they do a ton of work. They clear out the roadways, they put those lines back up, they restore powers that are so desperate for people, that people desperately have to have, say for your hospitals, the electricity that you have to have. It truly is something that's truly important. And the thing that's going to cause all of it is obviously the wind, but also the rain. Take a look at the rain story that we have for you, beginning with what we can anticipate in Charlotte. For the Queen City, we could deal with anywhere from, say, 6 to 8 inches of rainfall, maybe as much as 10. And the key thing to remember is those may be a little bit on the light side. If this thing slows down, we may have areas that could pop up in excess of a foot. In Charlotte, if you have 3 inches of rainfall that falls at quick duration, you could have some problems. But this is going to be something we could be seeing, that high amount of rainfall that could extend all the way into Monday, perhaps even Tuesday. So huge issue. The heaviest rainfall, obviously, out along the coast. But when you go farther into the western half of the state, higher elevation orographic lift plays a huge part. Again, as I said a short while ago, we've got a full team assembled to give you and your friends and your family the information that's so crucial, so critical to stay safe. So you're going to want to keep it here through the weekend on the Weather Channel. Someone you'll see quite a bit. You'll hear his wisdom. That is Dr. Rick Knabb. Dr. Knabb, you've been telling us for days and days what we could expect along the coast. Unfortunately, tragically, that has become a reality, and still it's unfolding and will continue to unfold for days to come.
Yeah, and flash flooding continues to go up the scale in terms of the danger and the urgency, and life-threatening situations unfolding in many parts of North Carolina, and this is headed to South Carolina. Look at all of the flash flood warnings. Some of these are emergencies. I want to highlight some of the most recently issued ones. This is a new extended flash flood warning in the Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach area in Horry County, surrounding areas till 2:30 a.m. And as it gets dark, it's going to get harder and harder to see how much water's on the roadways. Water could be rising, and it's at some point overnight, you're going to get onshore flow to back up any drainage the rivers are trying to do out into the ocean. Wilmington, flash flood warning till 2:15 a.m., and you will continue to get onshore flow. And we're approaching the midnight high tide cycle, so that's going to make this combined saltwater, freshwater problem even worse. Now, in the Jacksonville, North Carolina area, there's a flash flood warning, but that nasty band that has been going through Morehead City up into the central part of the state, that's over you. That situation could become even more dire, and we still have the flash flood emergency here in Morehead City and New Bern, another area where we could have some storm surge flooding, and we still have this flash flood emergency up in the Goldsboro area. If you've heard that you need to get out from flash flooding and you can't, call 911 from the highest part of your structure. We're here to keep you safe. Stay with us.
For those who thirst for more, Coors Light is colder, cleaner, and crisper to refresh you for what's next. Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
You can drink, eat well, and exercise, but to look completely healthy, you need healthy skin. Cetaphil Water Light Moisturizers immediately rehydrate skin for continuous hydration, day and night. Complete your healthy routine with Cetaphil.
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse awards the $2,500 a week forever prize. Win $2,500 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $2,500 a week for their life. Don't miss your final chance to win. Enter at PCH.com and October 26th. Win forever.
I'm missing out on our family outings because I can't find a bladder leakage product that fits. Everything was too loose. But Depend Fit Flex feels tailored to me.
Introducing more sizes for better comfort. New Depend Fit Flex underwear is guaranteed to be your best fit.
Season after season, year after year, customers have found that when it comes to replacing their windows, there's only one company to call: Renewal by Andersen. Call 1-800-352-3613 now. So what makes Renewal by Andersen so good? Fibrex material, an innovative composite material exclusive to Andersen that provides strength and durability, far surpassing vinyl. In fact, it won't warp or bow over time like vinyl does. Get the window replacement solution proven to stand the test of time, plus the peace of mind that comes from a superior service experience. That's Renewal by Andersen. Call 1-800-352-3613 today and get 20% off your entire order with this exclusive TV offer. Again, that's 800-352-3613 for 20% off. Plus, get no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better window. Call 1-800-352-3613 now.
Breaking news for National Hurricane.
All the rain in the forecast created the opportunity for the perfect crime.
Storm of Suspicion premieres October 7th.
Colon cancer screening for people 50 and older at average risk.
I think it's time for a new screen. For a different kind of screen. For colon cancer. Thought about it? His wife asked about screening options, and her doctor ordered me. I'm Cologuard, the non-invasive test you use at home. No special drink, just a trip to the bathroom.
Cologuard, colon cancer screening that's as easy as get, go, gone. Cologuard is not right for everyone, so ask your doctor if it's right for you.
Currently in our area, 84 degrees under clear skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 67. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny along with a few clouds. High 89. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 67. Winds east-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Brand new video into us as we have been tracking Florence, and we were cautioning everyone to take their pets with them. Maybe these were strays and not just house cats, but they were certainly looking for some dry ground, and some good Samaritans saw those cats jumping into the water, which, if you know cats, that's not their favorite place to be, but they also don't seem to like the people all that much as they are clawing their way off of the people that are trying to get them into safer areas. The good news here is that they were indeed brought out of the flood and to drier ground. Despite their protesting, they were brought into drier areas. So for all of you that are going to reach out to us and find out and hope to get updates from and about the cats, they are put into the boat and taken to much safer conditions than they were in at the time. And hopefully that little guy or girl can dry off, because it does not look very happy to be there. Speaking of the cat's meow, we know that Alex Wilson has been out in the rain for the bulk of the day. Alex can't go to anyone else after doing an animal video, and that one had a good ending. So hopefully the rest of the animal stories will be just as good.
Right, yeah, you know, you hope a lot of people got the memo. I know here at the hotel a lot of people did evacuate with their pets, and that's what you love to see. You know, you've got to bring pets along with you because, you know, they need safety just as much as you do. And, yeah, even though those cats were, I guess, a little cranky about their rescue, they knew that it needed to be done, right? Here in Wilmington, you know, we want people and their pets to stay put. If you're in a safe spot, if you're in a dry spot, that's where you need to stay, because unfortunately the rain is going to continue, not just tonight, not just tomorrow, but through the weekend, and that's going to allow for an increasing flood danger. We've already seen flash flooding reports across the region, flash flood emergencies posted for the area, and unfortunately we think those numbers are going to go up as we head through the weekend. We are very likely going to set the state rainfall record for rain from a tropical system. We've seen just over 23 inches in one location. The record is just over 24 inches. So just about a slam dunk that we're going to break that record. That's going to be no problem. But what happens beyond that? We could be looking at 30, 35, 40 inches of rainfall here across this region. And Dr. Knabb, you know, when you talk about how much is too much for a community of any sort to handle, that's absolutely no question. You're going to be dealing with significant flooding.
Yeah, significant flooding both from fresh water from the rainfall and salt water from the ongoing storm surge. Let's look at the radar and I'll show you all the places that have flash flood warnings in effect, and some of those are flash flood emergencies, including in Carteret County and farther up into the Goldsboro area. We have a flash flood warning in the Myrtle Beach area, and these flash flood warnings could make the transformation to emergencies where it becomes even more dire if the rainfall continues. And overnight, we're going to hit high tide around midnight, and we still have storm surge warnings in effect in these coastal areas. So that's when we could have the combined fresh and saltwater flooding. And we can't assume that just because the center has come ashore that we're not going to continue to have storm surge, especially at high tide tonight. That's going to occur. So in the coastal areas, this is even worse because of the onshore push, because whatever falls into the rivers can't exit out into the ocean and will be held in by the onshore flow. Very likely flash flooding in much of North and South Carolina tomorrow into Sunday, and it goes farther inland, including the Charlotte area, into the Appalachians as we go to the end of the weekend. So I want to tell everybody what to do about this. Main thing is to stay off the roads. Don't drive under any water-covered road or any closed road. Don't go into the water at all. You don't know what's in there. And evacuate if officials are telling you to do so. But if you're trapped in your home and you don't think you can safely evacuate and the water's rising, go to the highest level of your home and call 911, because it might be just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, to try to walk or drive out of that area. And don't touch any electrical equipment that is wet. Speaking of electricity, a lot of it's going to be going out, not just in these areas closer to the coast where the storm is now, but it's likely that power outages will extend farther inland and even into the Appalachians and the Asheville area. Raleigh is another one of those locations. So here's another list of things to do to stay safe. Power outages can be surprisingly dangerous and deadly. Operate those generators outdoors, not in the garage, away from the buildings. Don't use candles or other open flames, too much of a fire risk. Stay away from those down power lines. We've seen videos of some of the live lines. Don't touch them or anything they're touching, including water. And if you are needing to go somewhere else to take shelter and you have life-sustaining medical equipment, go to some place that has backup power. Mike, with inland flooding and with power outages, I think people underestimate their danger. So we really, really want to keep everybody alive during this very dangerous weekend ahead.
Listen, it gets really dangerous at night too, Dr. Knabb. Listen, night has come here in Myrtle Beach, and our power outages have gone up tremendously today. We've got 136,000 customers now in South Carolina that have lost power, and that number's likely to go up, okay? So remember what the dangers will be tonight. It's dark. And as Dr. Knabb was talking about, this is now your opportunity to use your lanterns and your flashlights. Hunker down in your home. And don't venture out in this. It's going to be very dangerous for you tonight. There won't be street lights. There won't be power. You won't necessarily be able to see as well as you want to, right? So just inside tonight and watch for the possibility of fallen trees as well. Hey, folks, we're going to stay with you here through the night. Our team coming back with extensive coverage at the top of the hour. Be safe here tonight.
911 emergency. My husband, he's having trouble breathing.
First responders hear it a lot. And everyone age 65 and older needs to hear it too. The flu and its complications can be deadly, especially for those with a chronic medical condition. That's why there are higher strength flu vaccines made for seniors. Ask your doctor or pharmacist for a senior flu shot. Do it today before the flu becomes an emergency.
911, she has the flu. Please hurry.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein and 26 vitamins and minerals. Ensure, now up to 30 grams of protein for strength and energy.
He was diagnosed with a large tumor. St. Jude gave us our son back. This place is saving children every day.
Que él está bien, porque gracias a St. Jude me están dando una esperanza de vida para él.
1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. will not survive. You can join the battle to save lives during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Without St. Jude and without the research they've done, I may not have my daughter.
Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
What's that?
Please call or go online right now and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope for only $19 a month.
I hope they find the cure for cancer so you can go back to being normal and be stronger.
They share their research, so it's saving children around the world.
When you join with your credit or debit card right now, we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt you can wear to show your support for the children of St. Jude.
To people who have donated, I would say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wish I could shake each and every one of your hands.
I cannot thank them enough. I wish they could see the lives they're changing.
St. Jude won't stop until no child dies from cancer.
St. Jude is giving us hopefully a future. They've given me my son.
Go online or call with your $19 monthly gift. Let's end childhood cancer together.
Lovely. How does one make such delightful cucumber sandwiches?
Frank's Red Hot sauce, Your Majesty. I put that on everything.
Frank's Red Hot Original, the perfect blend of flavor and heat.
From right here where my mailbox, my mother's mailbox is there, it is at least 2 feet deep. And each time you go to the next mailbox, you're dropping like 2 feet.
Florence battering the Carolinas tonight. The massive storm still at it, bringing heavy rain, destructive flooding, a 10-foot storm surge. Neighborhoods underwater as we speak. Tonight, our team remains out there covering it all for you. We have Alex Wilson along the North Carolina coast. Mike Bettis is on the South Carolina coast. We have a team of storm trackers out in the field and a team of hurricane experts here in the studio. We've got a lot to get to tonight as this massive storm slows down. And this is a lot of what we're seeing tonight. Storm surge covering coastal cities in water. This is Carolina Beach just hours ago. At least a foot of water here, higher in some spots. And the heavy rain coming down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina tonight. There's a live look right now. Our Mike Bettis is there, and we're going to check in with him in just a few minutes. Winds gusting to 40 miles per hour, and the torrential downpours continue. First, Wilmington, North Carolina, also still getting slammed tonight by Florence. The Weather Channel's Alex Wilson is there live tonight. And Alex, boy, this has certainly been a marathon, not a sprint.
It really has. You know, we saw this storm make landfall around 7:15, not far from here. That was 7:15 a.m., by the way. Wrightsville Beach is where it made landfall. But throughout late yesterday, the overnight hours, and then especially this morning, we saw the winds pick up, the rain coming down. And it really hasn't changed throughout the day. Yeah, we're not seeing the 100+ mile per hour gusts that we saw earlier this morning, but winds 50 to 60 miles an hour have been the norm throughout the afternoon. And even this evening, I would say 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. I would say because we actually lost the ASOS site that's recording the wind speeds over at the Wilmington airport. So last reporting wind gusts earlier this afternoon of over 50 miles an hour. But we've definitely seen those go down. What has not stopped, though, is the rainfall. You'll get a break from time to time, and then just as soon as you get that break and you feel like you're drying off a bit, more heavy rain comes. And these are tropical downpours that are coming down here in Wilmington and other communities across eastern North Carolina, eastern South Carolina as well. And the rain continues to pile up. The problem here in Wilmington is water is piling up as well from the river. The Cape Fear River hit its highest level on record today, and we're seeing it move actually south to north rather than north to south. And so the flooding rains that are coming, that water doesn't have anywhere to go because the water from the river's already pushing onshore and already high. So that's why we're going to be dealing with that almost combination of onshore flooding as well as freshwater flooding. Now you get away from the river and flash flooding will of course be a concern, as will river flooding moving forward. Jackie, there are so many threats that are going to come from water out of this storm, and it's just not stopping because this storm is just not moving.
What an incredible day it has been. We want to get you caught up now on what we know about Florence. Tonight, nearly 900,000 customers are without power, the most across North Carolina tonight, with over 750,000. 5 people now confirmed dead. A flash flood emergency, including New Bern, North Carolina. Hundreds of people were rescued there overnight, and now we're measuring rain in feet. Wilmington goes under a curfew starting at 10 o'clock tonight until 6 a.m. tomorrow. We want to get to our storm specialist, Carl Parker, who's been tracking this all for you. And Carl, just incredible the rainfall amounts in this one persistent band where it's still coming down.
Yeah, you know, this is such a profound example of when people say it's only a Category 2 or only a Category 1, why that may not matter at all in some cases. This is really one of those cases where you've got such a slow-moving system, such a large system, and you're getting so much rain over the same areas that the impact is going to be devastating. It is already in many spots, and we've got a long way to go before this is all said and done. So that center of circulation very close to Myrtle Beach right now, moving extremely slowly to the west at 3 miles per hour. And look at this band that is now driving into areas near Morehead City. This is a 3-hour radar loop that has barely moved in that time, and the result has been an incredible amount of rain. That's the 24-hour rainfall, very large area of greater than 5 inches of rain. But then within that, this is a pocket of 12 to 18 inches of rain that has come in with the system, and we've gotten some reports that are on the order of 14 inches in some areas here. So there is an ongoing flash flood emergency in effect for Carteret, Craven, and Pamlico counties. We are hearing about widespread flooding of homes, businesses, and roads in this area. And we actually heard from the National Weather Service. They are saying that this is a terribly dangerous situation. Most roads are impassable, and citizens are losing time to evacuate. This has gotten very, very bad indeed. And now in the county to the west, there is not now a flash flood emergency, but there are persistent rainfall rates of 2 to 3 inches per hour. Jones and Onslow County, that's going to be another area of concern. Also a flash flood emergency in Johnston and Wayne counties. That, that is going until 10 p.m. And we've got a flash flood warning in effect in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's going until 12:45 in the morning. About 3 inches of rain has fallen there. So widespread flash flood warnings across the central and eastern part of the state there. And so we just want to reiterate, do not drive into water at any time. Do not go around barricades. And if you're in trouble, go to the highest level and you need to call 911. And let's go back out to Alex Wilson now, reporting from Wilmington. And Alex, you know, it is just unbelievable how long of a duration we're looking at here. We're going to be in this tomorrow, all day tomorrow, and then even into Sunday as well. It's only going to be lifting up into the western part of the state.
And Carl, I got to keep you up because I would imagine these rainfall rates are anywhere from 1 to 3 inches an hour, correct?
Oh, yeah, no question about that. Certainly so. You know, I'm going to take a look at the radar where you are. Certainly so farther east and up the coast towards Carteret County. I think as you look at Myrtle Beach, we've got some slightly lower rainfall rates. In fact, we can actually query this right now and get a sense. I'll go to some of the highest areas just northwest of Myrtle Beach. And so we're not seeing as high a rainfall rate there. I would guess it's probably getting up to about an inch in some spots. But certainly with those bigger bands that are coming in farther north and east, that's where we're getting 2 to 3 inches per hour. So it's been just remarkable rainfall. We've got so much more in the way. This is a look at the HRRR model, the HRRR model. And this model is showing us this exceptionally slow motion and the onshore flow. And that's a real problem because as the water is running down through the rivers and trying to drain back out to the ocean, it's not able to do that. It's not able to push back out into the ocean because of that onshore flow in so many of these spots. So tomorrow morning, still raining in a lot of the very same areas, Alex, Wilmington on northward, right into the afternoon. You've still got it coming down there in Wilmington. So I think this flash flood threat and perhaps these emergencies are only going to grow over the next couple of days here. Over to you.
Right. Yeah, I'm afraid of that too, because you're exactly right. That Cape Fear River is pushing onshore, so that water really has nowhere to go. Carl, you mentioned Myrtle Beach, where the rainfall rates may be picking up in the coming hours, but also they've been in the thick of it in terms of the wind today. That's where we find Mike Bettis.
Well, Florence has delivered a punch in the gut today here in the Grand Strand of South Carolina in Myrtle Beach. Incredibly gusty winds today. That's taken down power lines and trees, and we've got excessive power outages now throughout South Carolina. The numbers have just gone up through the day and through the night, and with still very gusty winds overnight tonight and torrential rain still coming down. We think those numbers are only going to climb. And now there's an ongoing concern that the heavy rain is going to cause huge flood issues, not only potentially at the coast in a place like Myrtle Beach, but inland as well. We'll be worried about the track of Florence at a place like Conway, a place like Florence, a place like Columbia could all have serious flood issues for at least the next 24 hours, if not longer than that. The problem is Florence is moving so slowly, it's taking its good old time getting out of here, that we're going to have prolonged issues with the flooding. The thing about it also is this: as Florence moves away, we'll get the backside of Florence. Okay, that means the winds come down. Gradually, the rain tapers. However, we'll then get an onshore flow, whereas all day long today and through the night, we'll have an offshore flow. Storm surge has been no issue whatsoever. Tomorrow, it could be with an onshore flow that means the Atlantic Ocean comes up. Remember, we drain the water out of our river basins, then our storm drains out to the Atlantic. So if the water's higher in the Atlantic, we can't effectively drain the rainwater and the floodwater away, which means the floodwaters could stay up in neighborhoods longer than you may normally expect, and then they may rise more than you would normally expect, especially with ongoing rain. Curfew still in effect, 7 to 7, and keep this in mind too, folks. Emergency services may not respond to your 911 call because the weather has been too poor for fire or police to respond to any 911 calls. So you're hunkered down tonight, you're without power, and in many instances, you're without water as well. That's the latest here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm meteorologist Mike Bettis.
All right, Mike, thanks so much. I want to get some city-specific timing so we know what is still yet to come in a place like Myrtle Beach, because, Jackie, that's one of the areas where we're going to continue to deal with Florence into the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, even into Monday, and then we'll be dealing with river flooding well beyond that. So let's talk about some of the specific impacts. We're going to start out with Wilmington, and we're going to still be experiencing some of those strong tropical storm force wind gusts tonight, through the day tomorrow, even into Saturday night. But those stronger gusts that could reach hurricane force are now beginning to peter out. And so, but we could still see damage regardless of that. Rainfall amounts, this is on top of what you already have. And I know it's just incredible to think of that, but we're talking another 12 to 18 inches. So that's another foot or foot and a half of rain. And then storm surge, of course, up to 5 feet. Now, Myrtle Beach, we've noticed your winds are beginning to change direction. Our winds are coming in out of the southwest, so we'll watch for that change to that onshore flow that Mike Bettis was talking about. And we're looking at wind gusts continuing in this area between now and Saturday night. So we're talking at least 24 hours plus where we're going to have winds strong enough to continue to cause damage. And keep in mind, with the ground getting so saturated here, the winds don't have to be as strong as they normally would to do things like downing trees and causing all kinds of issues. Rainfall to come here as well, between 12 and 18 inches, and storm surge will just begin now for tonight and into tomorrow, up to 4 feet. An update for you on Morehead City, where you've received nearly 2 feet of rainfall already. Hard to believe you could be seeing another half of a foot perhaps on top of what you already have, so the flash flood emergency remains in effect there. We have a new tornado warning now. Let's go over to Carl for that.
Yeah, Jackie, a couple of tornado warnings actually now into eastern North Carolina. One of those into Duplin and Lenoir counties. That's going until 9:30 Eastern time. Let's take a look at the velocity data in this case, and we're seeing a pretty strong area of circulation there right along Route 258. So it's sitting right about in there, just southwest of Woodington, moving to the northwest very quickly. Motion here is now off to the northwest at 40 miles per hour. So I'm going to track this out, taking this forward, and that's generally going to be headed towards Seven Springs, coming up to Bland's Crossroads, 9:15, Moss Hill at 9:19, Liddell, 9:25, and Seven Springs at 9:31. So you want to get to your safe place immediately in those areas. Then another tornado warning off to the southeast. That's Craven, Jones, and Onslow counties. That's going until 9:45. Again, let's take a look at the velocity data. Not seeing anything that stands out quite as well in this case, just sort of a shear line here near Maysville. Let me go back one scan right in here. Maybe a little more of a circulation showing up there just southwest of Trenton. So let's go ahead and take that forward. And getting up towards Route 41 there, possible tornado. And, these things are often very transient. They often don't last very long at all. That would be coming towards Combs Fork, Pleasant Hill, Jonestown, and also into Woodington. So usually they're short fuse warnings. Yeah, the warnings come out. You see a circulation there for a couple of scans, and then it's over before it started. But they certainly can be damaging tornadoes. We've seen that many, many times. And a tornado watch in effect in going until 11 p.m. tonight for the eastern part of North Carolina. Still got a lot of wind to talk about, too. There's a look at the tropical storm warnings that are now in effect in eastern North Carolina and much of South Carolina as well. Winds still gusting now to 49 miles per hour in Fayetteville, also 47 miles per hour in Florence, closer to the center of circulation. When you think about what's going on with the rain here, the ground is absolutely full of water. If it's actually not water covered, it's at least full of water, and that's going to allow the trees to come over a lot more easily. We've already got a crazy number of power outages. I think Brandon told me last check nearly 800,000. 900,000 now without power is what we're hearing. So just a spectacular number of people without power. Tropical storm force winds continuing and going on for a very long time. There is the timing, and you see this going through Saturday evening and even into Sunday morning there in Wrightsville and in Myrtle Beach. So that is going to keep the pressure on and bring down even more trees and even more power lines across this region. A very long duration storm. Jackie, over to you.
All right, we'll stay with the Weather Channel for continuing coverage as Tropical Storm Florence continues to pound the Carolina coast. We have a team of meteorologists spread out up and down the East Coast covering every angle of this storm. It's hurricane coverage that you can trust. Stay with us.
Parodontax, the toothpaste that helps prevent bleeding gums. If you spit blood when you brush or floss, you may have gum problems and could be on the journey to much worse. Help stop the journey of gum disease. Try Parodontax toothpaste. It's clinically proven to remove plaque, the main cause of bleeding gums, for healthy gums and strong teeth. Leave bleeding gums behind with Parodontax toothpaste.
Hello?
Hello there. Almond Joy is tropicaling.
When you need a taste of vacation, pick up.
This is an insurance commercial, but let's be honest.
Nobody likes dealing with insurance, which is why Esurance hired me, Dennis Quaid, as their spokesperson, because apparently I'm highly likable. See, they know it's confusing.
I literally have no idea what I'm getting, Dennis Quaid.
That's why they're making it simple. Manning Cafe, and more affordable.
Thank you, Dennis Quaid.
You're welcome.
That's a prop apple.
I'd tell you more, but I only have 30 seconds, so here's a dramatic shot of their tagline so you'll remember it. Esurance. It's surprisingly painless.
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse awards the $2,500 a week forever prize. Win $2,500 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $2,500 a week for their life. Don't miss your final chance to win. Enter at PCH.com, and October 26th, win forever.
The demands are greater.
The expectations higher. The jobs tougher. The world moves faster. So we made your truck even more capable with legendary Hemi power. No wonder more people are switching to Ram than ever before.
During Ram Power Days, get an average $10,433 in total values on select all-new 2019 Ram 1500 models in dealer stock.
Domino's delivery drivers are experts at handling bad roads. But those roads shouldn't ruin your pizza when you carry out. So we're doing something about them, starting with this one. If your drive home is rough on pizza, tell us at pavingforpizza.com so we can fix roads across the country. Then carry out large 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each.
This is your dog. He needs a walk while the family's out. That's where WAG comes in. WAG lets you book a dog walker whenever you need. This is Faith. She's great with dogs.
I grew up with a beagle and a golden retriever.
Plus, she's been vetted by WAG.
I always open the door slowly, just in case the dog is waiting behind it.
And knows her stuff. Faith knows how to give your dog a great walk, and she fills you in on all the details. That's why you use WAG, because of great walkers like Faith. Get your first walk free when you download the app now.
My prescriptions used to be really expensive, but then I went to GoodRx.com.
It just works. You put in the drug you're looking for, and bang, you've got half a dozen or more choices in front of you of pricing and locations to get it.
You never think about shopping around for medication prices.
I have good insurance, but with GoodRx, I save even more money.
What? I was paying how much?
And it's absolutely free. No cost to me whatsoever.
I get to save $1,180 a year with GoodRx. This is awesome.
Go to GoodRx.com and check it out.
The only Emmy-nominated weather network on cable.
When this much rain falls, it is a life-threatening situation.
Is the most essential coverage on TV.
Currently in our area, 81 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 68. Winds light and variable. Saturday, sunny along with a few clouds. High 89. Winds east-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 67. Winds light and variable. Here's our 7-day outlook.
We have a couple of tornado warnings to tell you about now in North Carolina, and these storms are moving very quickly off the northwest at about 40 miles per hour. Craven, Jones, Onslow counties under warning until 9:45, and we are seeing a pretty tight circulation now showing up near Maysville. You want to get to your safe place right now near Maysville, and again, that is moving off to the northwest, so that's going to be moving up towards Comfort at about 9:43. There too, you want to get to your safe places. This is going to be moving very quickly, and then to the northwest of that, another tornado warning for Duplin and Lenore counties going until 9:30. And looking at the velocity data here, there too we're seeing a fairly strong circulation. That is just northeast of Albertson and near Woodington as well. Also moving northwest about 40 miles per hour. So that's coming into Liddell in just the next few minutes here, and we'll be moving towards Seven Springs at about 9:27 or so. And a tornado watch in effect for eastern North Carolina, and that going until 11 o'clock Eastern time. We want to get out to Alex Wilson. She's been reporting on the storm in Wilmington, North Carolina. And Alex, if you could you tell us a little bit about your day? I know it started with an awful lot of wind as that eye wall came in early this morning.
Yeah, it it got pretty wild. You know, we were live from 1 to 3 a.m. So basically when the eye wall was about 20 miles offshore from Wilmington. With that said, because it was only moving about 5 miles an hour, it didn't end up making landfall till close to 7 a.m. Or till after 7 a.m. I should say. So it was about 4 hours after our live shots ended. But while we were live early in the morning, we were seeing winds gusting around 60 miles an hour. I tried to lay down, but obviously when you're staying somewhere and you're dealing with 80, 90, 100 mile an hour wind gusts, it actually feels as if an NFL team is doing high knees down the hallway. The whole building was thumping thanks to the wind. So got to see, the strongest winds move onshore again. This was right around, I would say, anywhere from 6 to 8 a.m. That's when we saw the power flashes. Everybody was losing power across the city, including us here at our hotel. And throughout much of the day, 50, 60 plus mile per hour wind gusts have been the norm. One thing I will say, Carl, I think within the last hour and a half, I've really noticed a serious dip in the wind speed. So I think at this point, gusts maybe 30, 35 miles an hour at this point. What has not let up, though, throughout the day has been the rain. Now, we did notice that the water from the Cape Fear River was being pushed on shore. So during the mid-afternoon, this was over the boardwalk where we've done our live shots on Wednesday. It was out into these parking lots. It still is in some of the parking lots, but it was out onto Water Street in front of the hotel. So the hotel itself was actually becoming an island. That's receded as we got to low tide just after 6 o'clock in the afternoon. But we think because of that persistent onshore push, we're going to be dealing with more of that. So once again, that inundation from the river and the water is going to continue to fall from the sky. So something that we've been especially concerned about in a place like Wilmington is the freshwater as well as the saltwater flooding being an issue, or the flooding from the river combining with that rainfall, because that water just has nowhere to go.
We have that record surge today, Alex, and the rain continuing to come down. It looks like at least another 36 hours before it leaves your state. Well, Tropical Storm Florence slammed into the North Carolina coast, and it left its mark on communities across parts of the state. New Bern, this is just east of Morehead City, seeing some of the worst flooding from the storm. The community sits along the Neuse River, which quickly burst from its banks, bringing storm surges up to 12 feet into the town. And those who did not evacuate New Bern were quickly overtaken by the rising waters. Swift water rescue teams and other first responders rescued hundreds of people, taking them to higher grounds as Florence unleashed heavy rains. Rescue workers and teams are still ongoing and continuing to search for people in that area. Well, we are continuing to track Tropical Storm Florence right now. We want to go back to Carl Parker, and it's going to be a slow trek across South Carolina the next 36 hours or so.
Yeah, it's just crazy how long this whole thing is going to last. And, gradually over the weekend, it will lift up into the upstate of South Carolina. In the meantime, we've still got an onshore flow and an ongoing surge threat. There's a look at the latest storm surge forecast from the National Hurricane Center. They have lowered the values from the Outer Banks and down across Cape Lookout and Cape Fear to 3 to 5 feet. You notice it's still at 8 to 12 feet on the western end of the Pamlico Sound, and that includes the Neuse River and also the Pamlico River. So we're still looking for a very, very high surge there. And of course, there's been a flash flood warning and emergency in that area as well. So you've got water coming from both sides, coming from the Pamlico Sound and also runoff from the tremendously heavy rain. 2 to 4 feet is the surge forecast, and that from the Cape Fear area and on down into Myrtle Beach. And high tide cycles coming up here at midnight tonight, as well as into the middle of the day tomorrow. And our live team coverage of Tropical Storm Florence continues on the other side of the break. This is going to be a marathon of incredibly heavy rain and more wind. We'll have more coming up.
Cologuard, colon cancer screening for people 50 and older at average risk.
I'm here for an important reason. Colon cancer screening. There's a bunch of places where screening wouldn't be easy. Like here. Or here. Nope. But here's a place you can screen for colon cancer anytime with Cologuard. In private, without any special prep. There really is no place like home.
Cologuard is not right for everyone, so ask your doctor if it's right for you.
First dates, they can be a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know. Kinda like my constipation.
Let's not talk about constipation.
Did I make it more uncomfortable?
Say no more to occasional constipation with clinically proven effective Senecot. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
Do you suffer aches and pains from poor circulation? Are tired, aching legs stopping you from enjoying life? You don't have to suffer any longer. Relieve your aches and pains with Revitive Medic Circulation Booster, a new drug-free home treatment cleared by the FDA that significantly improves circulation in your legs and feet. Just one relaxing session a day, and you'll feel back in control. Medical conditions, age, or inactivity can cause poor circulation. The result, aches and pains that ruin your everyday life. Only Revitive Medic's patented wide pulse waveforms stimulate the nerve endings in your feet to get your lower leg muscles pumping and actively improve your circulation, relieve your aches and pains, and strengthen your leg muscles.
I've tried everything to get rid of my pain, and nothing has worked like Revitive. And even better, it's not a drug.
My granddaughter asked me to dance with her. Well, I can't turn down my granddaughter, right? So I danced 2 long dances with her, and I would never have been able to do that without Revitive.
It makes a big difference, quality of life. It's nice to have that filling back and have the control back.
Award-winning design makes Revitive Medic easy to use. Just place your feet on the foot pads and increase the intensity using the remote control. In minutes, you'll be enjoying relief as Revitive's clinically proven impulses take your aches and pains away. Discover why 94 out of 100 people who try Revitive keep it. Because it works. Try risk-free with our 60-day money-back guarantee. If Revitive Medic doesn't relieve your aches and pains, return it and we'll refund the purchase price, the shipping, and even pay the return shipping. That's how confident we are in the power of Revitive. Call 1-800-956-0509 or go to tryrevitive.com right now. That's 1-800-956-0509.
You don't have to live with pain. You just have to take the leap and try Revitive.
DiGiorno Crispy Pan Pizza bakes fresh in its own pan and travels straight to your table. Unlike delivery that goes from oven to box to bag to car to traffic to wrong houses. DiGiorno delivers a crispy caramelized crust straight from your oven. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
We're forecasting maybe 40 inches or more of rain from this system.
We could be doubling our rainfall record here as far as the tropical system is concerned in the state of North Carolina.
Well, I would characterize the flood threat as the most life-threatening aspect of this.
If the storm hasn't reached you yet, it's still coming.
Well, Florence is now a tropical storm, but the threat isn't over. The slow-moving storm is still pounding the Carolina coast with damaging winds and heavy rain. Florence made landfall this morning near Wilmington, North Carolina. As a Category 1 hurricane, the storm surge caused flooding in coastal areas, and winds knocked out power to more than 100,000 customers. Our live coverage of tracking Florence continues right now. Thanks so much for staying up late with us tonight. I'm meteorologist Jackie Jarris along with storm specialist Carl Parker. He'll have the latest on where Florence is headed coming up very shortly. But first, we want to go live to the Weather Channel's Alex Wilson, and she's live in Wilmington and has been there all day experiencing all kinds of conditions throughout the day today. Alex, I know that curfew goes into effect about 30 minutes from now. Have you even seen people around at all?
Not really. You know, we've seen people, walking out from the hotel and looking out from the hotel. Here or there, you may see somebody walk around, but it's mostly media and first responders at this point. And then the people who have sought refuge in the hotel here. A lot of people live on boats in this community or off towards the coast, and then the people who live on the ocean, on the Atlantic, have come here to stay at the hotel. So maybe coming out, have the pets get some fresh air when there's a lull in the rain. But it's still been bad out there. You get out there on the roads and you see downed trees. There have been power lines taken down. There's really no power in the city at all, and we're showing you some of the video of the damage. Tree damage is the #1 thing you'll see if you're driving around Wilmington. Anything from leaves, small branches down, to full trees taken down. And unfortunately, we did have 2 people die here in Wilmington, a mother and her infant daughter, after a tree fell onto their home. So unfortunately, fatalities because of the downed tree threat. And that continues to be a risk as we move through this evening and tonight, because we still have enough of a wind gust, over 30 miles an hour at times, that could topple any trees that have been compromised, Jackie, by the strong winds that we've already seen. And then, of course, the very loose, saturated soil from all the rain.
Absolutely, and so dangerous during the nighttime hours too, Alex, right? Because if people think they're going to try and get out still or try and move around, you can't see anything, and that's extremely dangerous. Always a good time to remind people to try and find those alternate routes. I know a lot of people are very concerned about the upcoming flooding that is still yet to come. So storm specialist Carl Parker has more about some of these downpours and some tropical tornadoes too, Carl.
Yeah, Jackie, we're seeing a pretty strong circulation right now in Wayne County, and that is not terribly far away from the 795 corridor. Here's a look at the warning. Wayne County under tornado warning. The cell is moving to the northwest at 40 miles per hour, very close to Seven Springs right now. There's the circulation right in there, that area of sort of brighter green and also darker red. Taking that forward, that's going to be coming up towards Brogden, again moving northwest at 40 miles per hour, moving into Indian Springs in the next moment or two, and then coming into Brogden at 9:43, and then Grantham at 9:54. Please get to your safe place if you're in those areas. Certainly you can see tornadoes that can cause damage. Even though they tend to be fleeting, they certainly can be strong tornadoes and cause damage in a situation like this. And Craven Jones and Onslow counties under warning until 9:45. And the velocity data here, not quite as apparent that we're seeing a real strong signature. We've got a little bit of something showing up northwest of Maysville. Taking that forward, that would be coming up towards Jonestown, Woodington, and also into Bland's Crossroads. All right, let's talk about the tornado watch. That's going until 11 o'clock tonight for the eastern part of North Carolina. But of course, the much broader threat that we've got right now is the tremendously heavy rain, because the system is just not moving at all. This is a look at the radar over the last 3 hours. Center of circulation near Myrtle Beach, moving west at 3 miles per hour. Got one band that's coming in near Wilmington right there, and this incredibly prolific band moving in near Morehead City, maybe propagating just a little farther to the west and starting to get out of some areas where we've had flash flood emergency in effect. That's the 24-hour rainfall. That large purple area there is where we've had 12 to 18 inches of rain already. We've had as much as 23 inches of rain, and for some perspective, the most that we have ever seen from a tropical cyclone in North Carolina is 24 inches. So we're an inch shy of that. That was with Floyd in 1999. So here's the flash flood warning in effect. This is a flash flood emergency. In effect, we are hearing about widespread flooding to homes and businesses, and also to the roads becoming impassable in these areas. So make sure you get to a higher level if you start to get flooded out, and call 911. Officials are out and rescuing people. We've heard about quite a few water rescues already. There again, that tornado warning we talked about moments ago. There's a flash flood warning off to the west of that as well, and that band of exceptionally heavy rain there. Also a flash flood warning up into areas around Johnston County. That's another flash flood emergency that's in effect. See if I can dial that in here. That's near Smithfield, and that is a flash flood emergency as well. We're going to have much more on this ongoing flooding situation as the storm slowly moves off to the west. More coming up in a few minutes.
What does help for heart failure look like?
The beat goes on.
It looks like Emily cooking dinner for 10.
The beat goes on.
It looks like Jonathan on a date with his wife. Entresto is a heart failure medicine that helps your heart, so you can keep on doing what you love. In the largest heart failure study ever, Entresto was proven superior at helping people stay alive and out of the hospital. It helps improve your heart's ability to pump blood to the body. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. Don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or aliskiren, or if you've had angioedema with an ACE or ARB. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto for heart failure. Yeah. Entrust your heart to Entresto.
The beat goes on.
We drove up a really long driveway to a property that was hidden from the road. It was so hot. It was overwhelming to see how many animals there were, as well as the conditions they were in. Puppies tied up to chains. It was 100 degrees and there was nothing for them to drink. It was terrible.
Summer is a time when thousands of animals suffer in sweltering heat. Many of these animals have been left for dead, and we need your help to rescue them.
They were skin and bones. They had no food, no water, with no help in sight.
Go online or call right now with your $19 monthly gift. Many of these animals are almost out of time.
You know that there's so many others out there, and you think, had we gotten here 1 week earlier, could we have saved more animals?
We need 2,000 new donors in the next 30 days so that we can reach more animals who need our help this summer. Visit joinaspca.org on any device or call this number now. Sign up for only 63 cents a day and we'll send you this free membership kit, including a magazine subscription, the photo of a rescued animal, and this limited edition Animal Champion t-shirt.
To see it up close and know that that's how people treat animals is heartbreaking.
Please help save animals' lives this summer. Go online or call now.
Heed local warnings. I can't emphasize that enough. Heed your local and state warnings. Protect yourself, protect your families. Don't put our first responders' lives in jeopardy. Do what you need to do as part of the team as well. And that message is to our citizens, both impacted currently and that will be impacted by the effects of Hurricane Florence.
Continuing coverage, tracking Hurricane Florence, or Tropical Storm Florence now. We've got a live look for you from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where the winds continue to gust very strong. We had an earlier report today of 61 miles per hour. Those hazardous conditions prompted fire and rescue to halt emergency operations in North Myrtle Beach earlier this morning. The city remains under a storm surge warning, and of course the center of the storm right now is just about over you in Myrtle Beach. We want to take you now to Wilmington, North Carolina, where our reporter Wendy Wolfork is right now. Wendy?
Florence's ferocious assault on the Carolina coastline started overnight, battering everything in her path, delivering a direct hit to Wilmington and its surrounding beaches as the eye came ashore just after 7 this morning. But it's the rain and storm surge creating the biggest threat to life as the slow-moving storm dumps rain measured in feet, not inches.
This is something that we have not seen before, this much rain, a hurricane staying on top of us for this long.
Inland flooding, the greatest concern.
One forecast shows a 1,000-year rain event.
In the riverfront community of New Bern, those who did not evacuate were quickly overtaken by the rising Neuse River.
It was horrifying. Just wondering what's going on and where the water's going to go and how high it's going to go and how we are going to get out.
Swiftwater rescue teams brought hundreds to higher ground.
Don't worry, we got you.
Across the region, National Guard teams already moving in to get people out. Everywhere you look, trees and power lines are down. Debris litters the landscape. But it's the inland flooding that poses the most immediate threat as Florence continues to dump torrential rain across the area. Sadly, the death toll has risen to 5 from Hurricane Florence. Among those who have passed, a mother and her infant who were killed when a tree collapsed into the home they were hiding in. That's the latest here in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm Wendy Woolfolk. Jackie, back to you.
Wendy, give us an idea of what's still going on in New Bern. What do you know? The information coming out of there is pretty minimal, but it's my understanding there's still almost 150 people that still need to be rescued out of that area.
Honestly, Jackie, that's the last number I heard as well. I know they've had the National Guard as well as local authorities in there trying to get people out. The number I heard earlier this morning was still 150, and at this point, that's the most recent number I know.
All right, thanks so much, Wendy. We appreciate your report tonight. Well, check out this video that was shot during high tide earlier today. Ocean waves pounding a home in Southport, North Carolina, a few miles north of Carolina Beach. Storm surge pushed the seawater into the town, covering roads and flooding businesses. When the next high tide rolls in, it's around midnight, that flooding is expected to get worse. Well, a once healthy section of dunes in Avon, North Carolina, wiped out as Florence battered the East Coast. This video shows the devastation this morning after the storm made landfall. Life-threatening storm surges and flooding are expected to persist through the night. Well, after Florence made landfall in North Carolina, the storm moved into South Carolina, bringing wind and waves to places like Myrtle Beach. Meteorologist Mike Bettis was there. Here's a look back at the lashing the storm gave the Grand Strand.
10:30 a.m. Starting now, feel the outer edges of Hurricane Florence hit us here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The rain has increased exponentially, and the winds have really picked up as well. Take a look out over the beach. Offshore wind, so everything's blowing out to sea right now. Now 12:45, strongest winds in Florence so far. Getting a horizontal rain just pelting us right now. Winds gusting over 50 miles an hour. We'd like to see the wind and the rain stay like this, consistent if not stronger, for the remainder of the day and through the night tonight.
Now 2 o'clock and the winds and the rain about as intense as they've been. It's been going on for about 4 to 5 hours now. The really intense rain bands and wind bands. Winds officially gusting to 55 at the airport, but there'll be isolated locations where the winds gust even higher than that, like where we are in this big exposed parking lot here. As far as flooding goes, haven't seen that yet, but it's just the beginning of the onset of the rain, and it'll go through the night tonight. 2:30 in the afternoon in Myrtle Beach, intense wind gusts with Florence now gusting over 65 miles an hour. Power's now going out, but still looking at the palms. They're still doing quite well. Some of the pine trees might have more issues, but this is the worst of Florence so far today.
And that's really just the first half of the storm, too, in Myrtle Beach. The center of circulation very close to Myrtle Beach right now. So the impacts are going to start to change a little bit. Let's head over to our storm specialist, Carl Parker, and he has more on the wind and what else to expect there.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing how these systems have such what is called inertial stability. There's so much momentum that's built up. It takes a very long time for that to spin down, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Even though this core has been on shore for a good while now, and it's the beginning of the weakening process for the system, you've still got an awful lot of power out there and a tremendous amount of wind in many areas, gusting now to 53 miles per hour in Florence, gusting to 49 in Fayetteville. And so with that level of wind and with all the water in the ground, we are definitely going to watch more trees come down, more power lines come down. This is a look at the wind timing here. Morehead City, we're finally going to get below tropical storm force going into the morning tomorrow, somewhere around maybe the middle of the morning towards the middle of the day tomorrow. Wrightsville, North Carolina, probably still looking at tropical storm force winds for most of the day tomorrow. And the same story there in Myrtle Beach as well. Most of the day tomorrow, you are going to be in tropical storm force winds. So you've got these widespread power outages right now. Nearly 1 million people are without power due to this storm in both North Carolina and South Carolina. So just a tremendous number without power. Be very, very careful. Make sure you don't come in contact with any live wires. Wires on the ground, whether they're live or not, certainly could be very, very dangerous.
Play She's a Rainbow.
The all-new Acura RDX with ELS Studio 3D sound. It's everything we ever imagined and then some.
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse awards the $2,500 a week Forever Prize. Win $2,500 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $2,500 a week for their life. Don't miss your final chance to win. Enter at PCH.com and October 26th. Win forever.
Lovely. How does one make such delightful cucumber sandwiches?
Frank's Red Hot Sauce, Your Majesty. I put that on everything.
Frank's Red Hot Original, the perfect blend of flavor and heat.
At touchofmodern.com, we explore the world to bring you the most unique products you won't discover anywhere else. From gadgets to watches to fashion, we have the finest collection of curated men's products on Earth.
The craziest product I think I've seen on Touch of Modern was a jetpack.
Live lobsters, custom motorcycle.
A wristband that shoots a fireball from your open palm.
Touch of Modern is a must-have for the modern man.
Touchofmodern.com, the most unique products all in one place.
My prescriptions used to be really expensive, but then I went to GoodRx.com.
It just works. You put in the drug you're looking for, and bang, you've got half a dozen or more choices in front of you of pricing and locations to get it.
You never think about shopping around for medication prices.
I have good insurance, but with GoodRx, I save even more money.
What? I was paying how much?
And it's absolutely free. No cost to me whatsoever. I get to save $1,180 a year with GoodRx. This is awesome.
Go to GoodRx.com and check it out.
Breaking news for National Hurricane.
All the rain in the forecast created the opportunity for the perfect crime.
Storm of Suspicion premieres October 7th.
Part 1 was perfect, but then they made a sequel, and it lived up to the hype. After 2 hits this big, you make a trilogy.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else. Why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase Sensimist relieves all your worst symptoms, including nasal congestion, which most pills don't. And all from a gentle mist you can barely feel. Flonase Sensimist.
Currently in our area, 79 degrees under clear skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 68. Winds light and variable. Saturday, sunny along with a few clouds. High 89. Winds east-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 67. Winds light and variable. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back. We have a new tornado warning to tell you about right now in North Carolina. This is Duplin, Jones, and Lenoir counties under warning until 10:30 Eastern time. The motion is northwest at 55 miles per hour. There you see the couplet, that area of sort of brighter orange and a little bit of gray right in there. That's where the circulation is. Let's track that forward. It's just coming into Route 258 right now, so that's going to be moving towards Lawson's Mill in just the next few minutes. Bland's Crossroads near near the top of the hour. Liddell also at that time, and Seven Springs at around 10:07. Possible tornado coming your way. Please do get to your safe place right away. And tornado watch in effect in eastern parts of North Carolina. That's going until 11 o'clock tonight. Let's get back out to Alex Wilson. She is in Wilmington, North Carolina. And Alex, certainly one of the big concerns when you've got a big storm like this is what exactly to do with your pets when you go to shelters. Not all of them do take pets, and it's a difficult problem for a lot of people because you want to make sure and take your furry loved ones along with you.
Absolutely. And anybody who's watched probably, 30 seconds of the Weather Channel knows that I am a huge animal lover. I love my pets. And so we were trying to get that messaging out, what you can do if you do have pets and you need to evacuate, and how we can help so that pets don't get left behind. But as we know, people don't always listen. However, just when we think people are at their worst, there are some people to be at their best. And I want you to take a look at this awesome rescue that these kind-hearted people did for these four-legged pups in need.
How you doing, buddy? You want a free ride? Come on. Hey, puppy dog. It's okay, girl. That's okay. Good. Yeah, see? Good. I'll get the dog. Come on. Here, girl. There it is. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. You don't know the dog's name, do you? No, I don't. No, it's a little scary. Come on, baby. Girl, come on. There you go, baby. Come on. Good girl. Come on, baby. Come on. Come here, girl. I'm trying to scoot her over this way. Here we go. Hey, how are you? How are you? There you go. Good girl. Good girl. You're okay. You're okay, baby. Got a rope there. Should be one tied. Oh, it's tied everything down. As long as they're not trying to jump off, I think we're all right. Put them towards the back. I was getting antsy. I couldn't do it any longer because I knew people needed help. So if you got the right stuff to do it, we've got saws, we've got rescue gear, we've got equipment. Use it, So you want to try to chain them? Come here. Come here, bro. It's okay. I bet if you sit down, I think it'll stay there. I'll turn your boat around.
Yeah, just another case of when Mother Nature at its worst, humans at their best. And Jackie, I remember similar scenarios last year when I was in Houston for Hurricane Harvey. But it wasn't just pets. I actually saw some cowboys. They were rodeo cowboys who found a mom, a doe, and her fawn swimming in really deep water. They knew they were going to get exhausted. And so they got them out of the water, hog-tied them, and put them out on dry ground. So, he said, you want to help any life you can.
You do, absolutely. Livestock, that's a big concern. Pets, of course, and the animals don't know what's going on, right? We've had the warning. We knew what was coming and what was going to happen, but they don't. So your heart really goes out to them. And I'm sure there are going to be a lot of pets probably who are going to need some new homes as people get displaced by flooding, unfortunately, because of Florence.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much, Alex. Well, we want to get back over to our storm specialist, Carl Parker, who continues to track this system right now. And we're just watching those persistent bands bringing those rainfall totals up and up.
Yeah, and some pretty strong storms also coming in those bands. And there is now a tornado warning to tell you about for Duplin and Jones in Lenore counties. This cell is moving off to the northwest at 55 miles per hour. And so just rapidly moving across that 258 corridor. It was just east of 258 in the last scan. Right in there is where we're seeing the circulation, sort of a bright area there. Let's take this forward, show you where it's going to be headed. It's going to be coming up towards the 117 corridor and Seven Springs in the next few minutes, moving into Liddell near the top of the hour, and Seven Springs at about 10:04, and then Indian Springs beyond that. Now, looking at the larger picture, we see the tornado warning here. There are flash flood warnings across just about the entire eastern half of North Carolina. This is a flash flood emergency right in there for Carteret and Craven counties. I want to show you the amount of rain that we're looking for going forward. So we've already had over 20 inches of rain and additionally a very sizable area of 12 to 18 inches of rain on the way. So this is why we are so concerned about an increased prevalence of evacuations and water rescues and flash flood emergencies. You look at the model forecast. This is taking it through tomorrow and into Sunday, and you can see how slowly, Jackie, it's moving into South Carolina and eventually into the upstate by the time we get into Sunday. Over to you.
Well, we're going to continue our live coverage of Hurricane Florence through this weekend. If you have a power outage or if you're traveling, you can listen to the Weather Channel on Sirius XM Channel 145. And live coverage continues around the clock right here on the Weather Channel.
Buy One, Take One is back at Olive Garden. Starting at just $12.99. Enjoy one of your favorites with us. And take one home for free. Buy one, take one for a limited time, only at Olive Garden.
First dates, they can be a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know. Kind of like my constipation.
Let's not talk about constipation.
Did I make it more uncomfortable?
Say no more to occasional constipation with clinically proven effective Senecot. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
This is an insurance commercial, but let's be honest.
Nobody likes dealing with insurance, which is why Esurance hired me, Dennis Quaid, as their spokesperson, because apparently I'm highly likable. See, they know it's confusing.
I literally have no idea what I'm getting, Dennis Quaid.
That's why they're making it simple. Man and cafe, and more affordable.
Thank you, Dennis Quaid.
You're welcome.
That's a prop apple.
I'd tell you more, but I only have 30 seconds, so here's a dramatic shot of their tagline so you'll remember it. Esurance. It's surprisingly painless.
Children shouldn't have to battle cancer, but they do.
My name is Abby, and I have Ewing sarcoma. St. Jude is trying to make it go away.
My name is Randall, and I have leukemia. I just finished my high dose of chemo.
You can join the battle to save lives by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Our son was diagnosed with a medullary brain tumor. I remember hoping that he would make it to his first birthday.
Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live. Please call or go online right now and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope for only $19 a month.
You don't realize the magnitude of how much you've really helped somebody. You know, I just want to say thank you.
1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer will not survive.
I didn't want any other parents to have to go through this. I don't know where we would be without this hospital.
When you join with your credit or debit card right now, we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt you can wear to show your support for the children of St. Jude.
St. Jude gives you all of that hope back. They gave me my daughter back.
St. Jude won't stop until no child dies from cancer.
These children fight hard. They fight for their life. And I don't think we could do it without you.
Please, call or go online right now.
From right here where my mailbox, my mother's mailbox is there, it is at least 2 feet deep. And each time you go to the next mailbox, you're dropping like 2 feet.
Florence battering the Carolinas tonight. The massive storm still at it, bringing heavy rain, destructive flooding, a 10-foot storm surge. Neighborhoods underwater as we speak. Tonight, our team remains out there covering it all. We have Alex Wilson along the North Carolina coast. Mike Bettis is on the South Carolina coast. We have a team of storm trackers out in the field and a team of hurricane experts right here in the studio. A lot to get to tonight as this massive storm blows down. And this is a lot of what we're seeing tonight. Storm surge covering coastal cities in water. This is Carolina Beach just hours ago. At least a foot of water here, higher in some spots. and the heavy rain coming down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina tonight. We've got a live look for you in Myrtle Beach, and we're going to check in with our Mike Bettis there in just a couple of minutes. First, Wilmington, North Carolina, also still getting slammed by Florence tonight. The Weather Channel's Alex Wilson is there live right now. And Alex, I think you've been through everything today, from 105-mile-per-hour wind gusts to storm surge to battering rain and damaging winds. What's the most extreme thing you've experienced today?
Oh, well, the wind obviously is the most immediate that comes to mind, but I think one of the most impressive things I saw today was the water. You know, we've been live here 2 days. We've been watching the Cape Fear River go from north to south, as it usually does. Not today. Today it was moving south to north because of that strong southerly push. And I want to start with that because Greg Diamond, one of our weather producers, pointed something out to me. Well, earlier today, we've been talking about how the Cape Fear River rose to levels that had not been recorded before. So the highest level for the Cape Fear River ever recorded here in Wilmington. That was reported by the National Weather Service office in Wilmington. Well, as we approach low tide, the water levels have dropped less than 2 feet. So they're running about 5 feet above average. And if the current trends hold, we are going to break the record by a full foot at the next high tide. So could be setting yet another record here along the Cape Fear River. And Jackie, when that water came in, it was over the boardwalk or the river walk where people walk along with their pets, along with their kids. You know, this is where you're going to take pictures. So it was over that. It was into the parking lots. It surrounded the hotel like an island, and it actually got deep enough that it was up to my waist outside. Now, obviously, I didn't go in it, but judging where I could see a few cars that did try to make their way through it, some big SUVs, it would have been up to my waist if we were walking. So talking about 3-foot water, if you're familiar with Wilmington, it was on Water Street, obviously appropriately named because of its position next to the water, but it was underwater, and that was actually getting into parking lots on the other side of Water Street. So that push of water is really notable. And again, you know, Dr. Knabb always talks about the surge and that onshore push of water. And I think it's hard to imagine what it's like until you actually see it. And so that was one of the most notable things. Obviously, the wind, you know, everything blowing around. A lot of tree damage. Saw some power flashes as power went out and power lines were compromised. And Jackie, of course, the rain, you know, you don't necessarily notice it, but you feel it. I mean, we are drenched out here as the rain has just been coming down throughout the day. And at times, we're talking torrential tropical downpours.
Yeah, a lot that you've been through today. It hasn't stopped raining at all, has it? I mean, it's been nonstop all day long, yes?
Yeah. It's been a very active day, and thanks to that slow motion. You know, yesterday when we had those winds around 50 to 60 miles an hour, I think people here in Wilmington were going, oh, is that it? Is that all we've got? And then it just kept ramping up overnight. Obviously, we hit the peak in the wind this morning, but still this afternoon, Jackie, we had gusts up to and over 50 miles an hour. I'd say at this point, 30-mile-per-hour gusts, 35 max. So the winds have died down, but now the rain is going to be the real danger here in Wilmington.
Yeah, it's still coming down and a long way to go still. Thanks so much, Alex. We want to get you updated now on what we know. Tonight, nearly 900,000 customers are without power, the most across North Carolina tonight, with more than 750,000 there. 5 people have been confirmed dead now. A flash flood emergency is in effect for New Bern. Hundreds of people have been evacuated and more than 100 still waiting for that rescue. A curfew goes into effect tonight in Wilmington. That just happened at 10 o'clock and continues in effect until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So Florence still has a lot to give, I guess, to the Carolinas, with more rain still lashing with the winds. And Carl, thankfully, the center is over land, that it has allowed it to weaken a little bit and will continue to do so.
Yeah, and at least the winds are coming down. I mean, that's something that helps out a little bit. But it's amazing the structure on the radar, how well formed it is. And you've got these banding features that are coming in that are not going anywhere anytime soon. And look at the rainfall totals. This is really amazing. Morehead City, 23 inches. inches. The most we have ever seen from a tropical cyclone in North Carolina is just over 24 inches. That was from Floyd in 1999. We are easily going to eclipse that in this event. We've got a lot more rain on the way. There's the center of circulation right there near Myrtle Beach. And then you've got these banding features that are driving in, one of them coming in near Wilmington, and then another one, just tremendous heavy rain here near Morehead City. And that's the one that prompted the flash flood emergency, which is now in effect for Carteret and Craven and Pamlico counties going until 9 a.m. We are hearing about widespread homes and businesses and roads being flooded out in this area. The rain is still coming down, especially just west of Route 70. And remember, this is very close to the Pamlico Sound. You've got the Newport River here, and you've also got the Pamlico River not very far away, the Neuse River. So you've got areas where water is coming in from the Sound side and up the rivers, and then you've got water that's trying to drain out with all that heavy rain, and they're meeting in the middle, and you can't get that sort of drainage that would help out with the flash flood emergencies. So that's a big part of why the water has been so high, and there are so many people that still need to be rescued in this area. There you see a flash flood warning for Johns and Onslow counties, and then another flash flood emergency in effect for Wayne County. That's going until 12:30 in the morning Eastern time. Let's get back out to Alex now in Wilmington. And Alex, you said that it was just a really tough early morning as that eye wall came in, and I believe winds gusted over 100 miles per hour there in Wilmington, right?
Yeah, 105 miles an hour, the peak gust at Wilmington, and that beat, Carl, both Fran and Hurricane Floyd. So we saw some significant wind gusts here for the city. And I got to tell you, if you're trying to sleep in a hotel during that, it's not going to happen because it literally, you know, like the high knees workout that you do to like warm up, it sounded like an NFL football team was doing high knees down the hallway. It was shaking, it was rocking, it was rolling. So it was pretty incredible. And then obviously you looked outside and you saw, you know, the whole, devastation. We saw trees coming down, big limbs coming down. And then, of course, the power flashes. If you were watching Jim this morning, he was showing that as we were actually watching the power go out in real time. Mike Bettis has had quite an active day as well in the state of South Carolina. He's been in Myrtle Beach and got to get an update from him.
Well, Florence has delivered a punch in the gut today here in the Grand Strand of South Carolina in Myrtle Beach. Incredibly gusty winds today. That's taken down power lines and trees, and we've got excessive power outages now throughout South Carolina. The numbers have just gone up through the day and through the night, and with still very gusty winds overnight tonight and torrential rain still coming down. We think those numbers are only going to climb. And now there's an ongoing concern that the heavy rain is going to cause huge flood issues, not only potentially at the coast in a place like Myrtle Beach, but inland as well. We'll be worried about the track of Florence at a place like Conway, a place like Florence, a place like Columbia could all have serious flood issues for at least the next 24 hours, if not longer than that. The problem is Florence is moving so slowly, it's taking its good old time getting out of here, that we're going to have prolonged issues with the flooding. The thing about it also is this: as Florence moves away, we'll get the backside of Florence. Okay, that means the winds come down. Gradually, the rain tapers. However, we'll then get an onshore flow, whereas all day long today and through the night, we'll have an offshore flow. Storm surge has been no issue whatsoever. Tomorrow it could be with an onshore flow that means the Atlantic Ocean comes up. Remember, we drain the water out of our river basins, then our storm drains out to the Atlantic. So if the water's higher in the Atlantic, we can't effectively drain the rainwater and the floodwater away, which means the floodwaters could stay up in neighborhoods longer than you may normally expect, and then they may rise more than you would normally expect, especially with ongoing rain. Curfew still in effect, 7 to 7, and keep this in mind too, folks. Emergency services may not respond to your 911 call because the weather has been too poor for fire or police to respond to any 911 calls. So you're hunkered down tonight, you're without power, and in many instances, you're without water as well. That's the latest here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm meteorologist Mike Bettis.
All right, thanks, Mike. And we've got a curfew here in Wilmington as well. That began at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. And Jackie, when we look at the timing for a place like Wilmington and other communities here in the Southeast, this is a long haul event.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking at least the rest of the weekend, and then you're still going to have to deal with river flooding well into next week beyond that. So let's talk about some of the specific cities and some of the significant impacts that will still be ongoing. And we'll start in Wilmington, where Alex is, and she can still expect to see some of these tropical storm force wind gusts from time to time, at least through your Saturday night. Now, rainfall to come, our latest projection bringing about another foot to 1.5 feet of rain. This is on top of what you already have and the ongoing flooding in this area. Now, Myrtle Beach, we're expecting you to see these tropical storm force wind gusts at least until Saturday night as well. Rainfall is still getting started here as the second half of your storm is now beginning to move in. You've had that offshore flow all day today, and now as we head towards tomorrow, we'll watch for a storm surge to reach up to 4 feet at times. And then Morehead City, already you've been measuring rainfall in feet here, almost 2 feet of rain in this region. We're expecting to see those gusty winds, tropical storm force at times between now and Saturday night. So you've got at least a good 24 hours to go with winds that are capable of producing some of that damage. And keep in mind, with saturated ground here, trees will likely topple over under conditions that aren't quite as strong in terms of the wind gusts than what they normally would do, because the root system all becomes compromised because of that. Rainfall amounts hopefully going to stay down there now, maybe another 3 to 5 on top of what you already have, but we'll continue to track some of those heavier bands, and then storm surge could be reaching up to 5 feet. And then Raleigh, North Carolina, you have been seeing some of those gusty winds off and on throughout the day today on the range of 30 plus miles per hour, and rainfall still to come, looking for the potential of 3 to 5 inches. So some localized flooding will be possible in Raleigh. So Florence will continue to take its trek south towards the west, then through the state of South Carolina, and then eventually making its way up towards the Appalachians and into the Northeast. And then our concern will start to pull a little bit more away from the coast, and we'll be watching the terrain here, because once all that rain comes down over the mountainous terrain, we're going to be at higher risk of seeing some mudslides and landslides. So notice this into the western Carolinas, we could be talking about 5 to 8 inches of rainfall. That's a lot of rain in that period of time as Florence begins to pick up a little bit more forward speed too as it moves up towards the north and towards the east. So a lot of rainfall still to come. This does not include the rain that's already come down. This is just what we're going to be seeing now through Tuesday. So let's head back to Carl Parker for more on what Florence is doing right now and more warnings.
Yeah, we wanted to take a look at some of the damage that occurred in eastern North Carolina and Avon, and that's on the Outer Banks, just a little to the north of Hatteras. And just tremendous wind working into the Outer Banks here, along with surge. You see all of the sand that got washed up there and into those areas where the houses are. So we had both surge and wind to deal with. When you're right on the water like that, you maximize the wind potential. There's no friction over the ocean, so winds gusted as high as 100 miles per hour coming into the Outer Banks. And of course, you had an elevated sea, a very angry sea with high wave action, and those waves creating even more surge with what is called wave run-up and set-up as the waves sort of pile on top of each other. So that has certainly eaten away at the beaches there, and we've seen a fair amount of damage as a result of that, even though the core of the storm was actually a pretty good long ways from that part of the Outer Banks. All right, here's a flash flood warning in effect for Franklin and Wake counties. That is the Raleigh-Durham area. We've had a few inches of rain already. The rainfall rates are not super high here, but the rain has been falling very steadily, and we've got more on the way. So there may be some ongoing issues. And then you see the expanse of the flash flood warnings. I mean, they're just across about the entire eastern half of North Carolina from 95 and right down across Interstate 40 as well. So we've got the flash flood issue to be concerned about, but also in the longer term, going out through the next week to 2 weeks, we're going to be looking at significant river flooding. This is the Cape Fear River near Burgaw, and we're looking for a forecast crest of 25 feet. The record is 22.5, so new record anticipated there. Manchester, North Carolina, similar story, forecast crest just 35 feet. The record is 32 feet. We've got a lot more rain on the way. This is the model forecast here showing you just how relentless this is going to be as the system just crawls to the east. So an additional 12 to 18 inches of rain on the way here, Jackie. It's hard to fathom. We've already had so many flash flood warnings and emergencies, and here we're talking about adding another foot of rain or more to these areas. So this is going to extend well through the weekend.
And hard to believe some of these rivers are going to eclipse what happened to them in Matthew.
Yeah, that's right.
As well.
Yeah.
We'll stay with the Weather Channel for continuing coverage as Tropical Storm Florence continues to pound the Carolina coast.
When your blanket's freshness fades before the binge watching begins, that's when you know it's half washed. Next time, add Downy fabric conditioner for freshness that lasts through next week's finale. Downy, and it's done.
As animal lovers, we assume that everyone is going to treat animals kindly. When you realize that that's not the case, it's shocking. Animals are abused in so many ways. Sometimes seeing the cruelty and what happens to these animals is almost too painful to watch. You can look at those images and just be so angry that anyone could do that to an animal.
Animals are abused every day, and they can't ask for help. They endure indescribable acts of violence, but they're without a voice. Without a voice to say they're frightened and in pain. They're alone, they're scared, and they need your help. Visit us at joinaspca.org or call this number now and sign up with your monthly donation. The situation is urgent, so please don't delay. It's only 63 cents a day, and you'll help rescue animals who are suffering. Do it in the next 10 minutes, and we'll send you the photo of an animal from our shelter and a free ASPCA t-shirt.
When you look directly into their eyes, you do see into their heart all of the suffering, all of the pain. If they had a voice, they would say, please help me. These animals don't have any way out. They don't have any escape. They need people like us to actually be the ones to stand up and say, I will help you.
It's a painful and horrifying life for these animals. But for just 63 cents a day, you can change everything. It could be the most important thing you do today. Please sign up now.
You can drink, eat well, and exercise, but to look completely healthy, you need healthy skin. Cetaphil Water-Like Moisturizers immediately rehydrate skin for continuous hydration, day and night. Complete your healthy routine with Cetaphil.
Clean up your lawn and garden the smart way with a DR Chipper Shredder. With a DR, you can reduce leaves, garden cuttings, sticks and twigs, even big branches to a fraction of their original volume. Drop lighter materials into the shredder and the DR will pulverize it into a fine mulch you can use to enrich your soil. The chipper cuts branches up to 5 inches thick into attractive wood chips that are great for landscaping. A DR Chipper Shredder is a complete yard and garden tool that turns your trash into treasure and leaves your property looking great. Call now to lock in special pricing on a DR Chipper Shredder, starting at a new low price.
For a free buyer's guide and DVD about the full line of DR Chippers, call 1-800-418-8917. Your satisfaction is guaranteed with our 1-year trial, so call now, 1-800-418-8917. Free shipping is now in effect, online at drchipper.com.
The only Emmy-nominated weather network on cable.
When this much rain falls, it is a life-threatening situation.
Is the most essential coverage on TV.
Currently in our area, 77 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 68. Winds light and variable. Saturday, sunny along with a few clouds. High 89. Winds east-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 67. Winds light and variable. Here's our 7-day outlook.
In the morning in Wilmington, the power is out and we're starting to see some trees down. The rain is starting to fall harder. The winds are starting to pick up. We are just miles from the eye wall, the worst of the weather. Woo! Here comes the winds. We're going through the eye wall of Florence. We are going to get into the eye as well, and what a difference it'll be. Woo! You hear that? Can you guys hear that? And so it looks like we're going to stay in that eye wall the entire time by the looks of this radar. It's 8:09 and the strongest wind gust we've had, 105 miles per hour. It's taking down street signs.
Wow, incredible footage there from Wilmington from our Stephanie Abrams. Our Alex Wilson is also in Wilmington. We're going to get to her live in just a second. This is a live look for you now from Raleigh, North Carolina, where you can see the rain continues to come down. Wake County, including the city of Raleigh, under a flash flood warning right now. Up to 3 inches of rain has already come down, and road closures are now being reported in Wake Forest. Well, we want to get to Alex Wilson now, who is in Wilmington, North Carolina, as I mentioned. And Alex, in the break, I was trying to look up conditions where you are, but there have been no observations there for hours because of all the damage in the area.
Yeah, the ASOS disconnected, so we have not been getting updates. But based on what we've seen throughout the day up until now when we had the observation, I really would say at this point gusts at their greatest would be about 30 to 35 miles an hour, and obviously have not seen one of those in a little bit. Every once in a while you get a strong gust move through, but nothing compared to what we saw, say, 3 hours ago. We had some really heavy rain and some really strong winds, and that can't be ruled out as we move through the overnight. You know, still could get some stronger gusts along with some heavy rain, but heavy rain, Jackie, is now transitioning to be the big threat. That isn't before the wind made plenty of problems. Take a look at some of the video from the Wilmington area. Now, tree debris was the most notable damage. Anything from small limbs and leaves down to large branches, chunks of tree, even whole trees taken down. And unfortunately, that did prove deadly here as a mother and her infant daughter were killed when a tree fell into the home they were staying in. Flooding, of course, the other big threat, and this is one that's going to continue even more so than the wind. We've seen the surge flooding as the water has been pushing from the south up the Cape Fear River, and that's been heading out into the dry ground along the river walk and the surrounding areas. We also are going to be watching for freshwater flooding. That's the flooding from the rain that's coming down heavy, and that's a threat that persists well into the weekend because we are going to be measuring rainfall in feet here in eastern North Carolina. As you heard, we've already, Carl mentioned, one of those spots, Morehead City, has already recorded over 23 inches of rain. The all-time state record in North Carolina for rain from a tropical system is just over 24 inches. So we're an inch away from setting that record. So all but a lock that we set that record. We actually think that some places are going to be measuring 30, 35, possibly even 40 plus inches of rain by the time Florence actually gets going. And when you talk about those kind of rainfall totals, you know that significant, serious, life-threatening flooding is all but a certainty. So unfortunately, that is the danger. And Jackie, something that we absolutely are trying to stress is if you are in a safe spot, if where you are is dry right now, don't go out, because now that we're in the overnight, it's tough.
Absolutely. You certainly can't see anything. And always a good reminder is, you know, travel during the day if you absolutely have to. And of course, if you do find any water over the roadways, find an alternate route. It's just not worth it. I mean, there's rescues going on right now in New Bern, people trying to get out. Thanks, Alex. Well, Tropical Storm Florence slammed into the North Carolina coast, leaving its mark on communities across parts of the state. New Bern, as I just mentioned, this is just east of Morehead City, seeing some of the worst of the flooding from the storm. You can see the video there with all of the water. The community sits along the Neuse River, which quickly burst from its banks, and it brought storm surge up to 12 feet into the town. And those who did not evacuate New Bern were quickly overtaken by those rising waters. Swift water rescue teams and other first responders rescued hundreds of people, more than 300, taking them to higher ground as Florence unleashed heavy rain. Rescue efforts and teams are still out there searching. This is ongoing tonight. More than 100 people are still waiting for that help. Well, we want to get to our own Carl Parker right now, who's been tracking Florence for days now. And Carl, that water is going to continue to be a huge issue. I mean, we're still looking at more than a foot of rain still to come in spots.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to fathom. I mean, it's just awful already, and you've got such a long way to go here. And we've also got severe weather to be concerned about on top of that. Tornado warning now, new tornado warning to tell you about. First of all, Duplin, Jones, Lenore County still under warning until 10:30, and there's been an extension to the northwest. That's for Wayne County, going until 10:45. We are seeing a circulation showing up here in the radar picture. It's not quite as well defined as it was one scan ago, right in there, showing up pretty well. And then the very next scan, you see it sort of loosening up a little bit, and that's often how these are. We'll have much more information coming up.
Make sure whatever you're into outside doesn't ruin your vehicle's inside. WeatherTech keeps you protected with everything from cargo liners, bump step, and side window deflectors to our laser measured floor liners. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com. The ultimate protection for your vehicle.
At Land's End, comfort is in our jeans. We build in features that matter, like a no-gap waist, improved stretch, and jeans for men that put comfort first with Flex built in. No matter how much walking, sitting, dancing, or jumping through hoops your day requires, you're going to look and feel amazing. Guaranteed. Period.
It's South Beach Diet's Healthy Living Sale. Join for free and get $100 in free food. Lose weight fast and get in the best shape of your life.
I'm Jesse James Decker, and if y'all want to know how I stay in shape, I do it with the South Beach Diet.
Lose up to 9 pounds and 3 inches in your first 2 weeks. Order your 28-day plan today and get fully prepared meals delivered to your door.
I'm healthy and in the best shape of my life.
South Beach is a low-sugar, high-protein, low-carb lifestyle that burns fat and transforms your metabolism.
I lost 24 pounds on the South Beach Diet.
Order your 28-day plan now and receive a week of best-selling South Beach Complete Shakes free. They're packed with 20 grams of protein, a great source of probiotics, and taste great. Act now. Join for free and get $100 in free food.
Trust me, the South Beach Diet works. Call or click right now.
Call 844-690-BEST or go to southbeachdiet.com/sale and get $100 in free food plus shakes free.
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse awards the $2,500 a week Forever Prize. Win $2,500 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $2,500 a week for their life. Don't miss your final chance to win. Enter at PCH.com and October 26th. Win forever.
Let's face it, everyone would love a smartphone these days, but not everyone wants unlimited everything. For people who just need GPS, a good camera, and a few apps, there's TracFone, the original no-contract wireless provider. Smartphone plans start as low as $15, with phones from top brands like Samsung and LG at very affordable prices. TracFone has nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. TracFone, for moments that matter. Available at Walmart for a low price every day.
When you carry out large 3-topping pizzas from Domino's for $7.99 each, you don't want bad roads ruining a good pizza. So we're doing something about that. If your drive home is rough on pizza, submit it at havenforpizza.com and we might fix it.
We're forecasting maybe 40 inches or more of rain from this system.
We could be doubling our rainfall record here as far as the tropical system is concerned in the state of North Carolina.
Well, I would characterize the flood threat as the most life-threatening aspect of this.
If the storm hasn't reached you yet, it's still coming.
Florence is now a tropical storm, but the threat isn't over. The slow-moving storm is still pounding the Carolina coast with damaging winds and heavy rain. Florence made landfall this morning near Wilmington, North Carolina as a Category 1 hurricane. The storm surge caused flooding in coastal areas and winds knocked out power to more than 100,000 customers. Our live coverage of tracking Florence continues right now. Thanks for staying up with us tonight. I'm meteorologist Jackie Jarris along with storm specialist Carl Parker. We're going to have the latest on where Florence is headed coming up shortly. But first, we want to go live to the Weather Channel's Alex Wilson. She is live in Wilmington. And Alex, you have been there all day. Describe to us what it's been like. I mean, it's just been unrelenting.
Yeah, unrelenting is actually a great word for what we've been up against here in the city of Wilmington, as well as other communities in eastern North Carolina. We saw the winds really begin to pick up in earnest late on Thursday, and through the overnight, it seemed like with every 2 hours that passed, our wind gusts would go up about 10 miles an hour, and that peaked right around the 6 to 8 a.m. time frame as that eye wall edged closer to us. It was the western eye wall. Winds gusted over 100 miles an hour in Wilmington. We saw gusts up 105 miles per hour. That beat the wind gusts out of Floyd and Fran here in the city of Wilmington. So winds were a problem. That obviously led to a lot of tree damage. Power has been out all day, and they're not going to be able to get up and restore this until those winds die down, and they could still stay too gusty tomorrow to do that. We've seen some video of crews out there trying to remove trees from roads. Now, obviously, they don't want just the general public out on the roads, but they do need to make those roads passable for first responders, emergency officials, and those who need to get out there when the storm first moves out to begin that process of recovery and get things back to normal so that people who left the community can come back. Carl, something else that we, of course, have been dealing with is the surge here from the Cape Fear River, and we think we could set another record as far as water is concerned on that at high tide tomorrow. But the rain is going to continue, Carl, so surge, freshwater flooding remain a threat into the weekend.
It is a huge worry. We're talking about another 12 to 18 inches in areas that have seen a tremendous amount of rain already. We're just about ready to set a new record for rain from one system in the state of North Carolina. We're about a half of an inch away from that. I want to tell you about a tornado warning. Carteret, Jones, Onslow counties going until 11 p.m. Looking at the velocity data, we're seeing a little bit of rotation showing up here near Swansboro. So that's going to be coming up towards Silverdale, also Morton Fork and White Oak School in the next few minutes. Also to the northwest of that, there's another area. It looks like we got a brand new tornado warning, just as I said that, right in here. There you see, let's take a look at what that warning is right now. And that is a warning for Duplin, Jones, Lenoir counties. And going back to the velocity data, very strong circulation showing up right there. And that is now moving northwest rapidly, as these all have. Coming towards Woodington. So it's going to be getting into Combs Fork in just the next few moments here, into Woodington at 10:45, Falling Creek 10:52, and Fields by 10:56. So an ongoing threat for tornadoes. I also want to talk to you a little bit about the wind, because it is not over yet. It's amazing how much momentum builds up in these systems, and the wind can just go and go and go. So we're still gusting to nearly 50 miles per hour just offshore, gusting now to 52 miles per hour in Florence. And so just ahead of the center of circulation, there's been quite a bit of wind in South Carolina. And we're getting a lot of reports of trees coming down near Charleston and also near Columbia. A report of a large tree blown onto a house in the Sedgefield neighborhood in Goose Creek. And then also just east of Columbia in Rembert, we're hearing about multiple trees down in this area. So it's turning out to be a very scary night, and this is just the beginning for a lot of these areas. When you look at the duration, we've been talking about this for a very long time. Winds are going to be winding down in Morehead City probably sometime tomorrow morning, at least in terms of tropical storm force wind. It's going to be coming probably below tropical storm force in wind gusts by the middle of the morning. But winds will probably continue to be at tropical storm force in terms of gusts in Wilmington, in Wrightsville, and also in Myrtle Beach going through most of the day tomorrow. through most of the day tomorrow. And then finally, at some point in the overnight between Saturday and Sunday, that's when the wind is going to begin to let off a little bit, and we'll get down below tropical storm force. So you've got a huge area of potential power outages, and already now we are looking at nearly 1 million people without power. The vast majority of those in North Carolina and South Carolina. About 18,000 without power due to the gas line problems there in Massachusetts, but the vast majority in North Carolina and South Carolina. And so some things to remember, if your power goes out, you want to make sure that you run your generator only outdoors. You'd be surprised at the number of people that have been killed in the aftermath of storms from running generators in areas that are not well ventilated. You also want to avoid using candles and other open flames and stay as far away from down power lines as you possibly can. We'll have much more on Tropical Storm Florence coming up in just a moment.
Bringing my Giovanni Rana pasta to everyone in America wasn't so easy. So I made it easy for America to find me. In the refrigerated section, Giovanni Rana pasta. Share what's inside.
Unstop right there. I'm about to pop a cap of fresh in that washer. With Unstoppable's in-wash scent boosters by Downy. Oh, it's so fresh. And it's gonna last from wash to wear for up to 12 weeks. Right? Freshness for weeks. Downy Unstoppables for fresh too feisty to quit. And now try Downy Unstoppables with the original scent of Tide.
He was diagnosed with a large tumor. St. Jude gave us our son back. This place is saving children every day.
Que él está bien, porque gracias a St. Jude me están dando una esperanza de vida para él.
1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. will not survive. You can join the battle to save lives during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Without St. Jude and without the research they've done, I may not have my daughter.
Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
What's that?
Please call or go online right now and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope for only $19 a month.
I hope they find the cure for cancer so you can go back to being normal and be stronger.
They share their research, so it's saving children around the world.
When you join with your credit or debit card right now, we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt you can wear to show your support for the children of St. Jude.
To people who have donated, I would say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wish I could shake each and every one of your hands.
I cannot thank them enough. I wish they could see the lives they're changing.
St. Jude won't stop until no child dies from cancer.
St. Jude is giving us hopefully a future. They've given me my son.
Go online or call with your $19 monthly gift. Let's end childhood cancer together.
Feel the clarity of non-drowsy Claritin and relief from symptoms caused by over 200 allergens, like those from Buddy. Because stuffed animals are clearly no substitute for real ones. Feel the clarity and live Claritin Clear.
This is not the end of it. 24 to 36 hours remain of a significant threat from heavy rain, heavy surge, not just in North Carolina, but obviously down as we move into South Carolina.
Taking a live look at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina right now. Florence brought wind gusts as high as 61 miles per hour to this area. Hazardous conditions prompted fire and rescue to halt emergency operations in North Myrtle Beach earlier this morning. The city remains under a storm surge warning. Rain is coming down and wind gusts more than 30 miles per hour. Across North Carolina, hundreds had to be rescued as water rose and trees came crashing down. In an emotional rescue, NBC's Lester Holt was there as firefighters went to pull a mother and her baby from a home.
As massive trees uprooted across the region, crashing into streets and homes, firefighters knew that calls like this would be inevitable this morning.
Unfortunately, we have a very, very large tree that's taken off the back corner of this house. We've been involved in the extrication of several victims for a number of hours now.
3 people, a couple and their 8-month-old baby, trapped. Firefighters desperately working to clear a path to the victims, who they could hear and speak to. At least one pinned by debris.
We have, as a Plan B, requested a surgical team out here to help us in case an amputation is required.
As firefighters work to save them, loved ones arrived on the scene. Overwhelmed by the situation. And then finally, some good news. The father freed and rushed to the hospital.
After we saw that first victim come out on the gurney, conscious and talking to paramedics, we held our breaths hoping we would see 2 more victims successfully taken out. Instead, after a few minutes, firefighters began to file out and their faces said it all.
A rescue effort had become a grim recovery. By the time they reached the mother and baby, it was too late.
It hits home for all of us. I mean, regardless if you have kids or not, if you have a family or not, it's a human life.
They saved one life, but then, in a powerful and touching moment, first responders huddled to pray for those they couldn't save.
We were all touched watching your firefighters gather together in prayer. What is this like for them?
Well, it's tough. You know, they've been out here a good little while trying to rescue this one person. So, you know, they're out here. They're under a lot of stress. They don't even know the condition of their own homes or their own families. So it's a difficult situation for all of us.
Putting not only their lives on the line, but also their emotions.
Wow, an incredible story there. Well, we have some new video in that we want to share with you that was shot during high tide earlier today. Ocean waves pounding a home in Southport, North Carolina, a few miles north of Carolina Beach. Storm surge pushed the seawater into the town, covering roads and flooding businesses. When the next high tide rolls in around midnight, the flooding is expected to get worse. A once healthy section of dunes in Avon, North Carolina, wiped out as Florence battered the East Coast. This video shows the devastation this morning after the storm made landfall. Life-threatening storm surge and flooding are expected to persist through the night. Florence officially made landfall at 7:15 this morning near Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. The Weather Channel's Jim Cantori and Stephanie Abrams were live as the center of the eye moved onshore. Take a look.
Steph, are there areas where you can see as you look at the buildings that there may be some water intrusion just because of the windswept rain that's coming in, or is everything pretty much boarded up and sandbagged up there?
Jim, I'll say everything is boarded and sandbagged. I have not seen, now there are a couple businesses across the way. I'm not sure if you can see them because the rain's coming down so hard that do not have boards. So Jim, what I will do for you is I'll run across the street. You can take it here. I'll run across the street and see if the water is seeped in where the people have not put sandbags.
Steph, are you there? Did you come back yet?
Jim, I do have an update for you. Yeah, I'm come back. By the way, that eye, I just spoke to our weather producer. The center of circulation is about 5 miles now from us, okay? So in theory, it should take about another hour to get into it if it's moving 5 miles an hour, right? So right around that, just keep that in mind as you're out there.
Yes.
And when I went and looked, you know what I realized, Jim? All the stores here on Front Street, they're tucked back in. So it's a little bit of a saving grace that they're not right on the street, right? They all are kind of tucked in, so they have a little protection. So right now, from what I can see, they're okay.
And that's great news, Stephanie, because, you know, a lot of times when we ask people to evacuate and leave, they will watch us to kind of see what's going on, and it's nice to give them an update.
This tree went down way early on, Jim, when we were just gusting more in that like 60, 70 mile an hour range. So it doesn't take a lot for damage, and this is why, you know, with a Category 1, you still have to board up. You still have to board up and be prepared.
Absolutely. You're right, Steph. It's not so much the wind and how much you get, it's the debris that comes down. And like you said, it came down long before the wind was 105 miles per hour. Here's what I'm going to say right now. If somebody gets 40, 45 inches, it wouldn't surprise me. What do you think?
Two things, Jim. You know, two things. If this thing does go back fully over water, you know, don't be shocked for this thing to, you know, get its act a little better together, because the eye kind of collapsed when it came on shore, and it does that with the friction. Second of all, Jim, the water you're standing in, is that strictly from rain, or are you getting the river coming out of its banks, or just overwash? What caused that water?
This is rainwater. This is rainwater that's either falling up where you are, probably near where we are, that's trying to get out, and it is.
Wow, they took quite the beating today. We want to get right over to our storm specialist, Carl Parker. We've got the new advisory in, Carl.
Yeah, that's right. And the storm now a 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm, so it's down just a tad in intensity. Not a surprise. We've been seeing winds gusting over 50 miles per hour, and a lot of reports, as a matter of fact, of trees coming down in South Carolina right now, just ahead of that center of circulation. Now moving west-southwest at 5 miles per hour, so it's just a little bit faster than it's been moving, and the pressure up to 980. Also want to show you the forecast track and intensities from the Hurricane Center. And so the storm is just going to crawl through South Carolina over the next couple of days. So we are looking for catastrophic flooding to continue for both North and South Carolina. And eventually a lot of that heavy rain is going to get up into the upstate of South Carolina and parts of North Carolina. And then the remnant low will make its way up through parts of the Ohio Valley and eventually into the Northeast as well. I want to tell you about the storm surge warning that has been discontinued for parts of the Outer Banks there, but otherwise continues to remain in effect along the Pamlico Sound and along much of the coast of North Carolina. Also, tornado warning now for Duplin, Jones, and Lenoir counties. That's going until 11:15 Eastern Time. The couplet we've been watching is not as strong as it was moments ago. There you see, looking pretty strong just southeast of Woodington. It has now begun to broaden out a good bit. Looks a lot more diffuse. Possible tornado there just south of Woodington and working northwest at about 50 miles per hour. We'll have much more coming up.
The moment you realize you're lucky your backyard is in the back.
At Lowe's, we have everything you need to keep your yard looking great. Shop Lowe's and get 4 one-quart mums for $10.
You're the can-do guy, the I got this guy. But you're also the guy concerned about prostate health. And you're not alone. For guys over 50, the ingredients in Urinezinc help support prostate health. You're in control with Urinezinc.
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse awards the $2,500 a week Forever Prize. Win $2,500 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $2,500 a week for their life. Don't miss your final chance to win. Enter at PCH.com and October 26th. Win forever.
Olay Regenerist wipes out the competition. Hydrating better than $100, $200, even $400 creams. With our B3 complex, beautiful skin doesn't have to cost a fortune. Olay.
My prescriptions used to be really expensive, but then I went to GoodRx.com.
It just works. You put in the drug you're looking for, and bang, you've got half a dozen or more choices in front of you of pricing and locations to get it.
You never think about shopping around for medication prices.
I have good insurance, but with GoodRx, I save even more money.
What? I was paying how much?
And it's absolutely free. No cost to me whatsoever.
I get to save $1,180 a year with GoodRx. This is awesome.
Go to GoodRx.com and check it out.
At touchofmodern.com, things you'd never think possible are totally attainable. The shoes are handmade, the furniture glows, the drones fly themselves. And that's just the beginning. Our relentless pursuit of the highest quality in watches, fashion, tech, and home are available all in one place. touchofmodern.com. We bring something new and unexpected to your life every day. So go to touchofmodern.com and be the first to discover all the novel and noteworthy items the world has to offer.
Breaking news for the National Hurricane.
All the rain in the forecast created the opportunity for the perfect crime.
Storm of Suspicion premieres October 7th.
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre, a continuous glucose monitoring system, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. With the Freestyle Libre system, just scan the sensor and manage your diabetes. You can do it without fingersticks. Freestyle Libre is available with a prescription at participating pharmacies. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Currently in our area, 75 degrees under clear skies.
Tonight, generally clear. Low 68. Winds light and variable. Saturday, sunny along with a few clouds. High 89. Winds east-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 67. Winds light and variable. Here's our 7-day outlook.
To those in the storm's path, if you can hear me, please stay sheltered in place. Do not go out in this storm. The Weather Service says flash flooding will be extreme and flood waters will come up quickly and seemingly out of nowhere.
Some great advice from North Carolina's governor right there to stay home tonight. If you didn't evacuate, hopefully you did. We'll continue to follow the situation, but we want to give you a new story here tonight where it's not just people, it's pets. Watch this as a group of strangers came across 2 stranded dogs that were trapped by rising water in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
How you doing, buddy? You want a free ride? Come on. Hey, puppy dog. It's okay, girl. That's okay. Good girl. Yeah, see? Good. I'll get the dog. Come on. Here, girl. There it is. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. You don't know the dog's name, do you? No, I don't. No, it's a little scary. Come on, baby. Girl, come on. There you go. Good girl. Come on. Come on. Come here, girl. Trying to scoot her over this way as we go. Hey, how are you? How are you? There you go. Good girl. Good girl. You're okay. You're okay, baby. Got a rope there. Should be one tied. Oh, it's tied everything down. As long as they're not trying to jump off, I think we're all right. Put them towards the back. I was getting antsy. I couldn't do it any longer because I knew people needed help. So if you got the right stuff to do it, we've got saws, we've got rescue gear, we've got equipment. Use it, So you want to try to chain them? Come here. Come here, Dave. It's okay. I bet if you sit down, I think you'll stay there for a while. I'm gonna turn your boat around.
So great to see a happy ending there. 2 dogs getting rescued. It's, not just people, it's your pets for sure. And you got to take care of them and try and make those plans ahead of time. And I'm sure once everything is done here with Florence, there are probably going to be some animals that are going to need some new homes. So we will follow up on that for you as well. Well, we are still tracking Florence. We just got the new advisory in. It's weakened a little bit more. We want to head over to Carl Parker. He's got some more on that.
It's weakened a little bit, yeah. It's still packing a punch, though. A 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm, and it's picked up a little bit of forward speed, moving west-southwest now at 5 miles per hour. One change I want to tell you about is to the storm surge forecast. So these values are down just a little bit. The greatest potential for surge still now on the western end of the Pamlico Sound and going up the Neuse River and going up the Pamlico River as well. And those areas, 8 to 12 feet of surge still expected in those areas, and then 3 to 5 feet from very close to Cape Lookout and down to Cape Fear, and then 2 to 4 feet on either side of that. So there's an ongoing surge threat. Also an ongoing tornado threat. Tornado warning for Duplin, Jones, Lenoir counties until 11:15. Seeing more of a shear line right now, right in there. So a little less of a potential for tornadoes, but these things do tend to be very fleeting. They tend not to last very long. We'll track that out just in case there happens to be a circulation there. That's coming towards Seven Springs, Walnut Creek, and also Elroy. And then to the south of that, another tornado warning here. That's for Carteret and Jones in Onslow County, the very same county where, by the way, there's a flash flood emergency, same counties where there's a flash flood emergency now in effect. So it's been a really tough night there. Here we're seeing some different areas where there could be some circulation, nothing that is really profound at this time. One of those near Marysville, and so we'll continue to keep a close eye on that. I also want to show you the 24-hour radar loop. And look at this thing. Over 24 hours, it moved about 120 miles. And so it's this relentless pounding. That is what has made this such a difficult event. The wind has gone on for so long. The rain, obviously, for so long. We've had as much as 24 inches of rain so far, or nearly so. And a long way to go, Jackie. It could be another foot to maybe foot and a half of rain before it's all done.
Wow. Glad to see that at least it picked up a little bit of forward speed.
A little bit.
I mean, it'll take a couple miles per hour for sure, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the wind that has occurred. Maximum winds now 65 miles per hour, so still could get a few gusts stronger than that. But here are some of the peak wind gust reports from this morning. And there you can see Cape Lookout at 106 miles per hour, Wilmington at 105, and Cape Fear at 100 miles per hour. So intense winds. And look at Wilmington, North Carolina. When we look back over the last 24 hours, we have had sustained or at least gusts of tropical storm force or greater for more than 24 hours. So it really kind of helps paint a picture at just how unrelenting the system has been. Still getting some wind gusts in Fayetteville, 45 miles per hour, 36 miles per hour in Hatteras. And now the center of the storm closer towards Myrtle Beach, they're getting some gusts around 30 and 40 in Charleston. Well, we're going to continue our live coverage of Hurricane Florence through this weekend. If you have a power outage or if you're traveling, you can listen to the Weather Channel on Sirius XM. It's channel 145. And live coverage continues around the clock right here on the Weather Channel. You can see all of our crews, which are out in the field. Of course, we're going to check back in with our Alex Wilson right here on the Weather Channel.
Cologuard, colon cancer screening for people 50 and older at average risk.
I'm here for an important reason. Colon cancer screening. There's a bunch of places where screening wouldn't be easy. Like here. Or here. Nope. But here's a place you can screen for colon cancer anytime with Cologuard. In private, without any special prep. There really is no place like home.